security. Another interesting topic we hear a lot about these days is ethics. Now with AI, everybody is talking about ethics, ethics, ChatGPT, ethics, ethics. I said, but ethics should have been there before ChatGPT, after ChatGPT, during ChatGPT. But suddenly AI has turned us towards ethics. And I find it so interesting. At one level, we see encounter killing every other day, right? Including yesterday, Atik himself and his brother have been encountered, and so on and so forth. And we are suddenly talking about ethics. So that's a different issue. Same thing with security, cyber security. Now, she will of course talk about it at length, and we are all there. But what I want to say is that humans are essentially people who don't like security. And my famous examples are, when was fire discovered? You would say thousands of years or whatever. When was the first fire extinguisher made? And how many of us have fire extinguishers in our house? We all have kitchens where there is a fire, right? But almost nobody has a fire extinguisher in their house. We have fire extinguishers only where it is mandated by law and there is some requirement. Only there we keep a fire extinguisher, otherwise we don't. So buildings like this, you have to keep smoke detectors, etc. Why don't we do it for our homes? We have all kinds of gadgets for our homes, very expensive. The sound theatre system itself will be very expensive, high-end, everything. But nobody has fire extinguishers. So the other example, when were motor cars made? You'll say a few hundred years ago. When did seat belts start coming into use? Only very recently. And how many of us wear seat belts if we are not afraid of the policeman checking us? And yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very interesting. So our safety is no longer. What about motorbikes? Oh, I remember motorbikes from days memorial, Java, yes, all these things. Helmets. When did we start wearing helmets? Only very recently. So it is very interesting that humans want to explore things and care about safety much later. And it is intrinsic. And maybe that is the way we are able to progress. Because if you at first look at safety, you would never be able to do anything. Now, what has happened with the computers? That when we started using computers, it were few people, few and far between. And you couldn't be using a computer if you didn't know a lot about it. Now, you may find this difficult to believe, but maybe people who are a little older, maybe Ashok Kamal will remember that there was a time when if you were to take your car on the highway, you had to be half an engineer yourself because you don't know what will break down, what will happen, etc., etc. And only those people who were sufficiently well versed with the mechanism of the car would think of driving a car. But today, it is no longer there. As long as you can switch it on and switch it off and brake, you are ready to drive the car because you know it is not likely to break down as much as it was earlier. Same thing with computers. When I started using computers, you had to know everything, which is the switch, which is the sense switch, this, that, plug, where is the hard disk connected, etc., etc. Today, people don't need to know that. And because now computers are connected, you are into a bigger problem. Because you may have done everything that you want, but because your computer was connected, somebody created some malware, something which he has got into it. Because once you are connected, it's a two-way street. And this is where this becomes even more important. Now you have heard that the cyber attacks may be coming from China, may be coming from some other country, and it is so difficult, and that's why precaution becomes even more important. So Vandana will tell you all about the hygiene, the security, the techniques, etc. But because I'm an academic, I have to tell you something which is more difficult than all these things. Now, the key thing today for computer security is encryption. So, what happens is your data is encrypted. And this has been from times immemorial that coded messages are a very important aspect. Many of these wars, etc., were won or lost because of coded messages. Many of you may know that computers played a big role in decoding of the messages of the Germans, and this whole thing in UK in Bletchley was all about Alan Turing, etc. really became important because they were the code breakers. For those of you who would like to have some fun, the famous Kama Sutra had sending coded messages as one very important skill required for lovers. Because lovers have to send coded messages which cannot be intercepted by others. And that's from there encryption has started. Today's encryption is a little more complicated, so whatever messages are stored, you encrypt them in a way that if somebody gets that encrypted message, he should not easily be able to break it. Now with advance of computers, etc., if you have a reasonable pattern, a simple algorithm, it is going to be cracked. So what is used today, the current standard for cryptography or coding your messages is what is called an RSA algorithm. This is named after Rives, Shamir and Alderman who created this. And it is based on a very interesting principle, which is a special case of a larger principle called one-way functions. So one-way function is something which is easy to do one way, but not easy to do the inverse way. So any kid, we have a small kid here, he can multiply any two numbers as many digits as they are. He can one by one do this and multiply. But given a large number, he will not be able to factorize them. And then even we will not be able to factorize, and many of your computers are not able to factorize, especially if the factors are prime numbers. So what RSA did was, they took one 64-digit prime number, one 65-digit prime number, multiplied by the 2, so you get a 129-digit number, and they call this RSA 129. That was something they used to encrypt something, and they published it on the internet, say, can you crack this and find out what its factors are? And it was a big challenge. That is the mechanism today, the public key, private key, and this factorization. Only now it is no longer RSA 129, it is RSA 2048, which is the standard today. And it is secure for all practical purposes for this thing. But, and this is where I want to say, something new is on the horizon called quantum computers and quantum algorithms. So a person called Peter Shor created an algorithm called Shor's algorithm, which can factorize as big a number as you want to do into its factors. The algorithm is there, it's been published, well known, etc. The computer is not there to run the algorithm. So now they have a phrase called Y2Q. So just like Y2K was the year when the traditional computing was breaking down because of that year 2000, etc. Y2Q is set for the years to quantum.
I am Dr. Vandana Gulia. I am...
First you have to say why you have not kept that A which would have naturally been there. So are you a neurologist also?
No. So I had a struggle for quite a few years in my life, from last 20 years. I see foreigners mispronouncing my name as Vandana, and it really irks me. So I did away with A. So no more confusion. Nobody will add an extra A in my name anymore. So hence I changed my name to... Yes. So no, not that. Yeah. So. Yeah, a lot of times bandana also. So that is the reason there is no A in the name. I am a cyber safety, what would you like to say? I talk about cyber safety in this current era when a lot of people are suffering from, they are becoming victims of cyber crimes. I started a campaign called No More Missing in 2014. I am the founder of No More Missing also. It also deals with the safety of children. Cyber Sharp is
If you want to be a more modest and not call yourself an expert, you can use the word evangelist.
Evangelist, yes. But
and this is the Western one should also understand.
So nowadays I am representing myself very well because I have the habit of underrepresenting myself, and I see a lot of people doing fabulously well in that area. So I kind of have added a few details into my introduction and in my profile. So this was because of that. So evangelist, yes, that's a very good word. Thank you for the suggestion. You're all right. Thank you so much. I hope after this session every one of you becomes that. So thank you so much for that endorsement. I did a few seminars with the law enforcement bodies because I believe that unless all the stakeholders of society come together, we will not be able to deal with something as simple and as vast as cyber crimes. The program Cyber Sharp was initiated because I find that even in small little details of life, a lot of people skip those simple things that we can do to become safe in the world. Cyber Sharp talks about the general non-technical cyber safety practices. I did a lot of seminars in India as well as UK, and the same topic was covered there as well. I do government school seminars, that is my pro bono project. Teachers training is the very important part of what I do because I believe that if I want a world in which the children are safe, then parents, teachers, educational societies, law enforcement bodies should be a part of it. Okay. Thank you. Got it. So No More Missing was started in 2014. Like I told you, it's a conversation about finding missing children. The campaign was launched to help law enforcement bodies and parents to find missing children. The former president, late Pranab Da, was our unofficial patron. This is our national team, No More Missing's national team. They were responsible for the state teams all over India, and we were present in more than 40 countries. This campaign was heavily covered by all of national newspapers as a headline. A lot of celebrities endorsed it also because the safety of children is a very big issue, and in our society a very little is talked about it. I have a very
yeah. When the children go missing, and you locate them, what is the percentage of the children who want to go back to the parents? And I took you to Baseo. I was there just on this 7th of March, 7th of April. And the children were very happy. And they don't want to go back to the parents or to their roots from where they were picked up or from where they went missing. So that is one aspect I want you to talk about later.
So No More Missing campaign is not about forcing children to go back to their families, and especially children who have made choice to leave their homes. The primary messages of No More Missing was one, that a lot of children who go missing are picked up by human traffickers. They are pushed into begging and such things. So those children who go missing, they are right in front of our eyes. They are on traffic signals, they are on busy intersections, at railway station, at bus stops. We are seeing them. A lot of times you may come across children who don't look like where they belong, they look like they come from good, decent families. But they are far away from where somebody is looking for them. For parents to look for a child all over India, even law enforcement bodies cannot do justice. Finding one child in this huge population, in this such a busy country, is almost like finding a needle in the haystack. So the message was, wherever you see a distressed child, I appealed that everybody can take a picture of that child, upload it on central database. So whoever is looking for that child, that missing child, can begin their search from that database, because there are hundreds of places, thousands of places where you can report missing children. There is not even a single place where you can begin your search. So No More Missing is that. Another very important message was, do not give money to children, because you are fueling the begging industry. So if you want to break the backbone of this crime syndicate, stop giving money to children. because you are funding that business. So those were the messages of this campaign, and that is why people became a part of this. It's a community of more than 2 lakh people all over world, and we really take the safety of children very seriously. So today we are all here to talk about cyber crimes, particularly in educational sector. We all suffer from this bias called optimism bias. We feel that whatever is happening all around us will not happen to us. So we kind of, even when we know that there are a lot of cyber crimes happening out there, we somehow lead our lives thinking that maybe it will not impact us. So educational sector, primarily educational sector and such industries who do not directly deal with law enforcement or anything, they live under this illusion that they will not be see in front of you, they are much smaller than the actual figures. Also, from 2021 till now, cyber criminals have evolved. They have actually become far more active, they have more tools, and they have become smarter than before in social engineering. So these figures, you can easily multiply it by a number which you think will be reasonable. So according to this, per hour people lose 5,620 crores to, and if you divide this 6 trillion per year, per minute the world is losing 100 crores. Every minute 100 crores is cyber criminals are cheating people of this amount. If you see the vast space that education industry covers in the world, is a very big pie for cyber criminals. They cannot resist but target it, because look at the numbers in the year 2020. These figures are in billions. If you convert it in Indian currency, according to this slide, by 2025 the education industry will be worth 1,840,000 crores, and this does not include the online education industry, which is 3 times than this. So for cyber criminals, it is a very big unguarded pie that they want to target, and that is the reason education industry became heavily targeted in So I was saying that cyber criminals consider that education industry is a very lucrative pie for them, and that is the reason in recent year education industry has been the hardest hit by cyber attacks. This is a report by Microsoft. Of all the industries that are attacked by the fraudsters and criminals, I am talking about retail, consumer goods, healthcare, telecommunication, financial sector, and even power and utilities. Education is right up there, and you can see it is by far the most attacked industry. I'll give you an example, the scale of loss. When an institution is attacked, what kind of losses they suffer. This university, which is very, very prestigious university, had to shut down because of a ransomware attack. So scammers and fraudsters, cyber criminals kind of jammed the entire system, and they demanded money from this university, and the money was so huge, the amount was so big that they were not able to pay that amount. After 157 years of serving the community, this university finally shut down, and the last and final message from the president of this Lincoln College was that they feel that it's a huge loss to community, to students. It is a very, very sad thing, but this is the hard reality. You don't have to look all the way to the foreign lands, to this, glossy newses. Right here, right in your own vicinity, in your own neighborhood, a lot of schools lot of universities are being attacked. This attack happened to a lot of colleges, 8 colleges, and the university, the institution is located in Ghaziabad. The attackers demanded roughly 8 crores to release the systems which they encrypted and they held captive. So that ransom was asked to release the systems. A lot of institutions have now heavily digitized themselves, and it gives the cyber criminals a perfect chance to twist their arms and ask for money. Another example is, now this one is not ransomware, but this is a very good example of a phishing attack. We will discover the meaning of these terms that I am using later on. I am just getting you familiarized with the kind of losses the universities suffer and the colleges and schools suffer. In this, this university lost roughly $11.8 million. That means in Indian currency somewhere around 90 crores. Recently Haldiram's was attacked because of a ransomware, and the cyber criminals demanded around 80 to 90 crores from them. It's such a big amount that any institution, which I am sure that educational institutions do not have such an amount at their disposal. They have a lot of things to be taken care of, and they are responsible for a lot of children and their education. They will never be able to respond to such demands. On an average, yeah.
I was not aware, but about 2 years ago, I was in a seminar because I was interested at that time in insurance. Now you can take an insurance against cyber attacks, including ransomware. So not only the systems get cracked, but the key people are very compromised to ransom, physical ransoms, and damage of their reputation on the cyber space, and then on to the public space. So this is there, and later I would like you to also throw some light on Jamtara, which is a training ground that they found of absolutely doing cyber crimes. So whenever you get time, please do throw lights, and how do we protect ourselves against these cyber attacks?
So you are talking about insurance. Let me take the example of insurance from the online scams to real life. So when a person suffers some kind of accident or the loss of life, of course insurance agencies, insurance companies pay the compensation. But is that enough to compensate everything that the person or the relatives or the family went through? Is it ever enough to compensate for the loss which happened? Never. So when this university had to close down its gates, a legacy had to just disappear. There will never be another Lincoln College, even if insurance companies pay whatever the amount was, in question. But the stress that the entire student communities went through, I am sure they had thousands of students which were enrolled with them. The kind of amount of time that they lost, those students, the education that was lost because of the time. I think time is of crucial essence when we talk about education. Every semester is important. I see my son, he struggles through semester to semester. In higher education, things are packed back to back, even in school. If you lose 6 months in a school academic year, what will be the cost of that? There will be no way to compensate that with insurance. So, on an average, the scale of loss from 1 million all the way to 10 or 20 million, the average is roughly around 15 crores in Indian currency. That is the cost of attack which an institution goes through. Is it still worth it to ignore such attacks? A lot of times, now here is the answer to your question, sir. Byju's is a very, very popular edtech company. They went through a cyber attack. A lot of their data was encrypted and a lot of it was stolen and sold in the dark web. Now, this edtech company is worth $16 billion. That is their brand, that is their market price. They had to shut down few of their servers and they could not keep up with the demands of their investors. The loss of brand value is something that they could never recover. Other institutions also went through the same harassment. Only attack and recovering from that attack does not compensate for the loss of time and the other losses. These are some of the names.
But some amount of loss is compensated now. Is the some amount of material loss, I'm saying.
Yeah.
In terms of rupee value.
You always run the risk of closing off an institution. So if Haldiram's had, you know, that kind of attack, and even if they get compensated, so the loss of the time, the business days was another loss that they suffered, and I think nobody anticipates what kind of hit you are going to take. Even when we take insurance in real life, we estimate an amount in our heads. A lot of times it is sufficient and a lot of times it is not sufficient. What if it is something bigger than that? So when you talk about cyber crimes, you just can never put your finger and say that, okay, this is a pattern, and if you follow this, then this will happen. There is no predictability there. So these universities also suffered a lot of attacks, and you know, this University of Detroit had to negotiate with the ransomware attacker called Lockbit, and they were not able to negotiate their way out of it, and as a result they suffered a lot of loss. Why education industry is so lucrative? Why schools, universities and colleges are so lucrative for cyber criminals? Number one reason is that they have a vast resource and valuable data. So data is the new gold, new oil. Data is something which is a power. Data is something which can be weaponized. So any school has a lot of data of the students, the parents, their financial details, teachers, staff, their financial details, their personal details. It can easily be used to scam them or harm them also. So I mean, for financial losses, of course. So schools, the educational institutions are a vast resource for attackers. And I have covered this second topic. The large amount of money. Any school, the kind of fees that they collect every quarter is anywhere between 5 crore to almost 50 crores, depends on which kind of private school I am talking about. So if I plan a cyber attack on a school, only I do a lot of planning. I should not say I. If a scammer does a lot of planning, cyber criminal, and they plan their attack, one attack on a very famous public school, then within 5 days of execution of that attack, they can pocket anywhere between 30 to 50 crores, and that's it. So it's very simple, it's very easy. They can keep their anonymity also. Intellectual properties are also a very big reason for cyber criminals. Another reason is low security. I don't think educational institutes have a lot of focus on cyber security. They of course pay a lot of attention to the quality of education, the infrastructure and so many other things. But security, cyber security is not on their minds. Another thing is that post-COVID, educational institutions shifted a lot of their operations online. Everything is getting heavily digitized, and COVID sort of fast-tracked everything. And that is also a reason of when we see so many number of attacks, COVID is also a reason for that. Education is ranked high among the most targeted industry. We have already covered that. In education industry, schools are number 2 on the target list of ransomware attack. Schools are not safe at all. Education sector found to be least secure, that we have covered. And another very, very important thing is that teachers, students and the staff was 48% times responsible for opening a door for an attacker to get into the system, which is very scary. This research was conducted by Black Kite, and they are a industry standard. They are considered an industry standard. They conducted a survey among top universities, 100 universities in US. I am talking about US right now. And they found that almost all of them had a rating F on the scale of A to F. Everyone fell under the red space. That means they were really not secure. They were highly insecure. And most of the schools failed with F rating. And every educational entity was found to be extremely vulnerable. So when they released this, the whole world woke up to the threats, the conversation of threats that are surrounding the educational industries. Now, there is a reason why the attacks have increased in the recent number of years. One is that we are heavily focused on digitizing everything. Online education has become a very, very good source of income for a lot of educational industries, and everybody is kind of, extending themselves in that direction, and a lot of resources are now online, and it is very easy for a cyber criminal to cast a wide net and target a lot of them at one go, and that is the reason why so many attacks have increased in the recent year. During the COVID year itself, it was found that almost 72% attacks increased during these last 2-3 years only. NCSC National Cyber Security Center is a UK based authority body जो ये रिसर्च करते हैं कि कौन कौन सी इंडस्ट्रीज़ कितनी वनरेबल हैं. तो उन्होंने ये बताया कि द फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस इज़ प्रिटी नेग्लिजिबल. इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक दिस, like anybody can go into the system very easily. It takes very low level of skill to hack into the system of an educational institute. Cyber security for educational institutions is never a priority, and that is the reason they are really vulnerable. Institutions do not identify the prevention of cyber crimes as something that they should focus on. They really think that, I was telling you about this bias, they really think that whatever is happening out there in the world, maybe banks are under threat, maybe the investment companies are under threat, but not schools. But they are so wrong, and they think that whenever a problem will come, they will deal with it. जब तक कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती तब तक टेंशन लेने का क्या फ़ायदा, तब तक आराम से बैठो. And that is the reason they never pay attention on the cyber security. There is still this mindset that security means the physical security. So there should be a very high boundary wall, the infrastructure should be very robust, there should be good physical security, the guarding system should be good, the camera should be there. But the reality is that now the real threat will not come straight away from the door. Somebody sitting somewhere in their own basement with a little laptop can cause more harm than an army of people. In the age of this kind of awareness, when such information is available, if you still don't want to see that so much threat is there, then that means you don't want to see it. Threats to the organizations are under two categories. One is cyber enabled, the other one is cyber dependent. Cyber enabled, in which you really depend on the infrastructure of IT infrastructure to execute an attack. For example, hacking or ransomware. But in some of the attacks, you need the support of IT system and network only till an extent. When you extract a lot of knowledge, the rest is done by humans, and that is cyber enabled. That category is called cyber enabled crimes. So ransomware falls in that category, where is heavily cyber dependent. You need a proper infrastructure support, IT support and network support to be able to execute this. Ransomware is a malware that infects computers. It kind of restricts the access to any kind of information, and they even threaten to destroy that data if certain amount is not paid. So that kind of attack is called ransomware, and often this is a go-to method of the cyber criminals. They feel that this is the easiest cyber crime they will be able to get away with a lot of money. If you see the statistics, in last 5 years, whatever number of attacks have happened, uska 60% has happened in last 2 years only. That means a lot of attacks have now, the cyber criminals have doubled up their efforts, and they also started looking at education industry as the primary target. Another attack is a DDoS attack, in which a system attacker shuts down the system. It can be the learning management system of an entity, it can be accounting systems, it can be the information systems or the entire network. The sad part is, or maybe the happy part of the attacker is, that it is very easy to execute. It doesn't require a lot of money. Even people who are not very highly skilled can actually launch this kind of attack. I remember in my son's school, he was in, okay, I should not say the name. So one day he came to me and told me that आज तो कुछ भी काम नहीं हुआ and अगले कुछ दिनों तक होगा भी नहीं, हमें कुछ होमवर्क नहीं मिलेगा, हमारी अटेंडेंस भी नहीं हुई और हमने सारा दिन मस्ती करी. तो I asked him what was the reason for that, and he told me somebody sent thousands of emails on every student's account, on every staff member's account, on every teacher's account. Thousands of emails, and that is the reason the entire system came to a halt. They had to call in the cybersecurity professionals, they had to approach the network providers, and they took a number of days they spent in fixing this problem. And in the end it came out that a child who was not happy with his results, who was not happy with the way he was treated by his peer group, I am talking about cyberbullying, he kind of executed a revenge on the school. And everything happened because of a teenager who had access to a laptop. Another incident, another teenage student from St. Petersburg High School launched this kind of attack on school. The entire system had halted only because he wanted to escape certain tests or maybe not wanted to attend the classes. A DDoS attack can be purchased for as low as $5 per hour. It is so easily available. In fact, authority bodies in Britain are really tearing their hair right now how to stop children, young teenagers from attacking their school systems because they want to prank or because they want to impress their peer or because they don't want to give the test or they don't want to attend the schools. So they are really having a tough time stopping the children and teenagers from doing such kind of things. Another thing, another attack is spear phishing. Spear phishing is something when you target a person for an attack or maybe a body. Now this happens when you have certain information available and the rest you have to fill in with your human intelligence. So if I have sir's phone number and email ID and his address, then I can execute an attack. I can design an attack specifically which he will respond to. So spear phishing is very, very common when the data has been accessed already. So that is the reason we consider data so important. Yes, please.
Recently I found this on LinkedIn, a very famous school's manager, his photograph was taken and a lot of people were sent this message that this person has done a fraud of 5 lakh rupees and you need to pay up on his behalf, kind of thing. Does that come into spear phishing? Because that only needed his photograph and our photographs are everywhere.
So that may be a case of defamation, cyber defamation.
Cyber defamation.
It could be a case of revenge. It could be somebody trying to harm the reputation of a person. It could be so many things. We have no way to find out from a picture whether the person actually took money or not.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's so easy nowadays and anonymity gives access to people to launch such attacks on other people. जिसने ये launch किया है उसका नाम कोई नहीं जानता, उसको कोई consequences suffer नहीं करने पड़ेंगे. But the person whose picture has been used, he had to go through a lot of stress. He had to go through, even through a lot of defamation. There may be consequences of that in his life, at his job place. He may be able to never recover from that. And the societal reputation that we work so hard towards building, that may never be seen. So that could be the thing. Actually.
So that's my biggest worry is a lot of us here in this room are also in the public space, including you, right? A lot of public work that you do. Is there ever going to be an answer to this? Will we ever be able to be safe from this?
We will cover this as we go along.
All right.
I am not just going to tell you lose your sleep over this. I am going to tell you a lot of weapons against such things so that you can protect yourself.
Right.
And what are the things on internet? People are responsible for damaging their own lives. We are the ones who are putting our information out there. We are the ones who are not guarding our information. We are the ones who don't give any meaning to our data. Like सर बोलते हैं, अभी शुरू में उन्होंने बोला कि किसी को सेफ रहना पसंद नहीं है. कोई सेफ्टी की सिक्योरिटी की कॉन्वर्सेशन को सीरियसली नहीं लेता. किसी को पसंद नहीं है सीट बेल्ट लगाना, किसी को पसंद नहीं है हेलमेट लगाना. सो वी आर द रीज़न if an authority body will not come and tell us that it is illegal to give your information out in the public, probably we will continue to give our information out in the public. So we are harming ourselves a lot of times, and that is the reason awareness seminars project these kind of information out there in the world, and kind of, like I said, my goal here is to scare you maybe a little bit, make you uncomfortable, but I want to instill in you the respect that you should give to the important things, details of your life which you think are not that important, which people don't think that they are very important, but they are. You must have seen on Facebook people wishing happy birthday. किसी का भी birthday आता है, सब लोग लाइन से messages भेजते हैं हमको.
Right.
कितना अच्छा लगता है वो messages जब आते हैं तो. But किसी को ये नहीं मालूम है कि मुझे किसी का नाम पता चल गया है, मुझे उसका date of birth मालूम है, बाकी details मैं उसके अगर सोशल मीडिया प्रोफाइल पे जाऊँ तो 80% डिटेल्स मिल जाएंगी मुझको. So I had a friend in school.
And the sad part is nobody will pick up the phone and actually wish. That's the real sad social dilemma there.
Okay, maybe if you give them a chance, they will. People have the option of choosing the easy task first of all. So if they had an option of writing a message and getting away with it, probably they'll do that. So I was telling you about an incident from my life. I had a very good friend during my high school. We parted ways. So when we were in school, we were joined by the hips. Nobody could separate us. But as soon as school got over, the life took over and I lost track of how and where she is. So we had no contact whatsoever. So one day I was emptying out my cupboard and 20 years of memories came out, pictures and the souvenirs and everything. So I told my husband that there's only one person who can appreciate this and I don't know where she is. So he said, okay, you're a cyber safety professional, find her. I said, okay, challenge accepted. I started looking for her, not knowing her second name, because after getting married, women change their name. I didn't know where she is. I didn't have any contact detail. I didn't have any common connect also. I started looking for her out there in the open web space. Can you tell me how much time would I have taken to find her whereabouts?
10 minutes.
Thank you for your confidence in me. If you think I'm that good, thank you very much. So it took me close to 1.5 hours. I knew where she is living, what job she is doing, her professional email ID, her phone number, her husband's name. And I called her and she really got spooked. She said, who is this? I said, Vandana, how did you get my number? I said, not just your number, I have a whole detail. Tumhara pura janam patri hai mere paas mein. So this is what people do. We don't protect our details. I mean, in this case, I was really happy to find my friend. But imagine, even any criminal can find you. In US, there was one very famous interview of what do you call the company जो लोगों को detective agency. So the owner of detective agency came on record and said that जब हमें किसी को stalk करना होता है, हमें किसी को follow करना होता है और हमें ये नहीं पता होता कि वो कहाँ है, तो हम सबसे पहले उसके सोशल मीडिया से शुरू करते हैं. We just check their social media. 90% of times people tell us, tag their location and tell us where we are, how we are doing, what's going on in our lives. आधे से ज़्यादा information उनको वहीं से मिल जाती है.
That's the question, right? Professor Pant's courses are on WhatsApp, so his WhatsApp number is everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, like,
Sure.
how does he secure himself?
No, in fact, I share with you an interesting story. So there are visitors who have come to me, and I asked them, he says exactly this, that your thing is available on the internet, I got your phone, I got your address, I got your everything, and called you before coming and here I am. So I'm not very worried. My phone number, for example, I was at a very large hall in that Habitat Center Stein Auditorium. So somebody asked me for my phone number, I just said it like that. And the people who say, you're telling a phone number just like that? I said, yes, I shared the number, but I know how to filter when I get calls or messages and so on and so forth. But what is very interesting is she was telling to you about these possibilities of crime. It is my habit that whenever I'm meeting somebody, I will search the internet for information about that person, him or her. And one person was a very successful investor. He had a pharma company, this, that, whatever. And he was meeting me, we were talking about some of these things. And when I searched for him, I got a lot of information which I knew, but then I got information that he violated somebody's IPR, that the income tax department in US is after him, that is there, this patent infringement, so I was very impressed with this biotech thing. They had something in Hyderabad, Shanta Biotech, and it was almost comparable to Kiran Mazumdar's show. And then it was all secrets he had stolen from somewhere and so on and so forth. So you have to be very careful that whether you post it or not, they are going to find out from all kinds of things, and a lot of information is. In fact, I had met somebody whose job was this. He used to call this open analytics or whatever, and his job was this, from all the open data that is available to analyze and find out about profile. And I've been saying this, and sometimes maybe in the presence of some of you, I would have said that when I give these courses on AI, etc., I tell people that I am giving these courses to you, saying if I were to create a special course, AI for criminals, you just imagine how important it would be. Daud would be my student. Atik to mar gaya, but he would have been my student. And all these people would have been there. And I will tell them how to use that because you're absolutely right. And you are probably aware that most of these organized gang of criminals use the best brains. They have absolutely best brains who are they using and so on and so forth. So it will be, and it is true of everything, right from day one. Whenever we have something, there are people going to use it for one purpose, and another set of people who will use it for exactly the opposite purpose. And what she is saying is very important that you have to be careful to what extent you give the information, what you can do about protecting your information. But this idea of distorting your information, doing this, etc., has been from times immemorial. Traditional times, a photograph, he had to go to a dark room and look at that negative, hypo, etc., and then they did manipulation of pictures. It was even there. In the movie pictures, they had to use scissors and scotch tape, etc., to cut the film at that time, and they replace it. Now they do digital editing, copying, etc., can do it much faster. But fake movies, fake videos, all these things have always been there. Equally with this, you will get tools which will help you detect that. So as I've mentioned to you about cryptography and this thing. So as people will make these fake, already you've seen like turnitin.com, it catches out plagiarism. There are others which are able to detect fake movie detectors. Even they are now created detectors that this thing is written by Chat GPT and not a human being, and so on and so forth. So this chor sipai ka khel will keep on going. But can I just share? Sure.
Try to befriend us on the Facebook or LinkedIn or other places. And then suddenly you get a middle of the night or at an odd time you get a call, hi. And then if you answer that question or say something, then suddenly they'll make a video call. So I was subjected to this about, 2.5 years ago. And then before I could realize, she started disrobing herself and started making a video of me. And soon enough, after the next morning or something, I got a call from a Delhi police person. He had made the logo and everything and said, this is going to go viral if you don't demand so much money. So luckily for me, my Sala, that is my brother-in-law, my wife's husband, my wife's brother, is a lawyer. That account was located in Mumbai. So another relative of ours was heading the
I started asking money from
That's a good idea, sir. As a businessman, I can start doing that.
अब तुम दो नहीं तो मैं broadcast करूँगा कि तुम ये करते हो.
So this is one thing, practically, how do you face these? So I think Vandana will be coming to this sometime. But then I read a very interesting article on this Jamtara. I asked her, there is a complete criminal situation because I used to collect milk from that area, so I know that area. This is the Mio Muslims who are there, not very far from here, maybe 50-70 kilometers from here. This is the New district in Haryana and the Firozpur Jidka district, which is also bordering Haryana and Rajasthan. So these Mio Gujars live there. So they are the people who slaughter the cattle. The Hindu Gujar will not slaughter the cows and the buffaloes for beef. But it's very common, I know that area very well. My buses have been going there since the time I joined business and 1940s and everything. So we know that area. So wahan pe this has become a training ground. For just for 40,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees, these courses are conducted there in that area, and cyber crime has now become one of their passions because unke bacche pad lik gaye, so they find that easier to do this crime. And each of those areas, this was a whole full page article in Hindustan Times about I think 20 days ago, 25 days ago. They have some multiple bank accounts. So if you want an account in HSBC or something, then the price is about 40,000 rupees or something to pay for that account, or could be a lakh of rupees. But if you want an account in State Bank of India or one of the Punjab National Banks, to open such an account, they require only about 10,000 rupees or something, or 5,000 rupees. So it's become a specialized crime. And also, as that article said, if the police or the cyber police goes there to do investigations, the women of that families stand up and don't allow the police to enter those villages. They say, क्या हो गया? इसने क्या crime किया? So the willing person who's coming on the net and willing to get compromised, so क्या फर्क पड़ता है? नहीं आता ना वो, so we will not allow you to enter the village. So this is what I wanted to share, the social dimension that has come to such an extent that the police becomes ineffective. They have to go with a full squad of about 10-20 people, and that all the accounts that they give, the SIM accounts, the KYCs, those SIM accounts are taken in far off places like Assam or Odisha or Madhya Pradesh. So they tried tracking कि भाई इतनी दूर से जाके सिम कैसे लिया और वहाँ पे KYC कैसे उसने कराया. So they found out that many of those people had trucks and they would be going to those areas, and they would, that's why those relatives of those children will say, यार हमको सिम वहाँ से ले दियो, वहाँ पे कोई KYC दे दियो. So what I'm trying to bring out is the variation that has taken place, and you have these classes that are there. So Jamtara is famous. Jamtara is of course located in Bihar, but those same classes are being duplicated in Mio. So this is what, exactly what Vandana said, that the attack could originate from anywhere. So this is what I wanted to share.
The new meaning of Vasudha Kutumbakam.
Thank you.
I'll be showing you the report.
Thank you.
For pickpockets.
Yeah.
Bombay area, there was a program with pickpocket. How you have to go around, how you have to distract him and so on. So it is always going to be there.
Yes, it has always been going on. New methods have introduced.
Except that my date, in future they will all become self-learners. They will learn from YouTube.
Yes.
There will be courses available on the net.
So there are actually a lot of people are becoming.
Incidentally, is one of the top 10 most backward districts of the country, and it has almost more than 80% of SC/ST population.
So I was going to discuss with you, can a cyber criminal launch an attack against the entire school? So what do you think is an average strength of a school? At any given point of time, any public school, how many children do you think will be in one public school? Give me an average number.
Sorry, come to the question again.
Average strength of a school. I want one figure. And then, yes, any private school.
Full school would be about 5,000.
What do you think, sir?
What was the motivating factor for hacking the AIMS data?
Ransomware. So maybe you know, or maybe you
Who
don't
were
know this.
responsible for this kind of a, because there has to be some motivating
Yes.
factor. There is also beneficiary behind it, and there are agents who are working on it.
So I have understood
So,
your question.
so what
I'm
was
ready to answer.
the, what is your analysis of this?
So-
That how it has approached the AIMS, there are several, and has a large number of data about the patients, and there is a data of specific patients who are on the topmost VIP, VIP data. We didn't have data of the what they call Jinnah. He was suffering from TB and nobody knew about it. No, that's when the things happened. So now data becoming very serious, not only individual medical and other issues, but those who have the influencing factor of the society, and they happen to be sick, and everybody can be sick. So what are the motivating factor? Political, social, and monetary.
Primary reason for ransomware attacks is always money. Primary reason. It is said that AIMS was asked to pay 200 crores as a ransom amount to release their data. And government officials tried to negotiate for a really long time, and in the meantime our own hackers were trying to decrypt the data and take control of that data back. I don't know whether it is there any truth in it or not, but some say they have actually been able to get, you know, whatever was taken from them back only after paying. So there are multiple things when something like this on this level is launched. One is of course money. Scammers or the cyber criminals are after money, so they got their share of this thing. Another thing is that as a global leader, as a global upcoming power, you lose your face in front of all the other countries if you can't protect your critical infrastructure, can't protect your power, your hospitals, your airports, your banking infrastructure. Then what are you going to do, becoming a next upcoming world power? So saving a face becomes very important for such a large infrastructure. It creates an urgency. Of course, the sensitive data is something which puts pressure on them to be able to get that back. Once a ransomware attack happens, there is no way to ensure whether the attacker will give the entire data back or not, whether the institution will be able to decrypt that data in its original form or not. How much data will be lost? No one knows. How much data will be replicated and sold in the black market? No one knows that. So you see how critical it is when the top leaders of the country, now there are people on the dark web, probably they know that who can be targeted with a bioweapon in which way, who is allergic to what, who will respond to certain kind of medicines or maybe chemicals more. So this will be a very different kind of bio attack. So that also creates an urgency for an institution to resolve that matter. It creates an urgency on the government to resolve it better.
How secured are our mirror data? Because if you are working on computer, you can hack and you create a problem but I can keep a mirror image in somewhere else.
Yes.
How it gets into mirror image, because mirror image can get me back to my original data, and that's and often mirror images are kept not really open to anyone, even by switching off.
Yeah.
Because it is switched on at a particular moment and then it is kept off, and that button is with the other person, not with the same person who is doing it.
Yeah.
So how secured this mirror data are in the situation of it's a finance, the medical, education, degrees, and etc. How secure? Because mirror data are only kept recently for a library purpose. So far they are not keeping the mirror data everywhere, mirror images.
Yes.
So So what's your response to this kind of,
So-
the possibility of attacking the mirror data which are normally kept off the internet connection?
साइबर सिक्योरिटी के बारे में ये कहा जाता है सर दैट द वीकेस्ट लिंक इन साइबर सिक्योरिटी इज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग. So whoever is guarding that data, whoever is responsible to guard that data can easily be socially engineered. That person may receive a fraudulent email or messages, end up clicking it and jeopardizing the entire infrastructure, the safety of that infrastructure. So one primary reason why the organizations get these criminals are able to penetrate through the firewalls and infrastructure, in spite of having good infrastructure, in spite of an organization having deployed the necessary firewalls, still a lot of cyber criminals are able to penetrate through that because of a mistake of one human being. It's very easy to create a phishing, let me just take you to this. These are all phishing attacks in which I was telling you about the attacks in which the infrastructure and the IT support is required only to an extent just to launch the attack, and the rest is done with the human intelligence, like you decipher what the other person needs and then you come across something which may trigger him, which may put him off, generate some greed in him or maybe some fear in him. So look at this email. It looks like somebody sent you a Google link for a PDF. You will definitely think that, okay, I have received a document, let me click on it and see what's in there. But if you look closely, this is not sent from a Gmail, sent from protected.download.com. But it looks like, it looks like a copy of, very close copy. On the onset, when you look at it, you probably will think you have received something from Google. Another example is this, a very popular home items brand, Home Depot. So somebody launched this attack, sent thousands of emails to people saying that it exactly replica of that website. It's called website spoofing. You create that replica and then you launch several offers and ask people to click on it, avail those offers, download this, you will get this discount, this coupon is available. And a lot of times people are not able to make out. They are so closely replicated. But if you see clearly, then this is not from Home Depot. It's from Home Depot at compliancesolutions.com. So this is where we don't actually see very closely, but when we see the broader image, we feel that, okay, this is something which we can trust. This is another, Groupon is a very, very famous company known for giving good deals to people. This looks very, very closely imitated. This one is a social media account. If somebody receives this message, they will get really jittery, thinking that somebody is trying to hack into their social media account. It says that there is a confirmation that the password has been changed to your account. The person will immediately click on this link and reset the password, and that is all a person needs, a scammer needs. This one is from LinkedIn. LinkedIn is considered to be a very prestigious, very reliable platform. So when you receive a message from LinkedIn, you will say, okay, let me check the activities on my account. You will definitely click. This one is a website of a bank. Again, very prestigious bank, HDFC. If you look closely, you will not find anything out of place. The person will automatically go to this, put their customer ID, put their password to get into their own bank account. But it is not a actual site of the bank. If you see, there is in the URL itself, you will be able to see this is not hdfc.com. So a lot of times humans are tricked into clicking, into downloading. Because of these things, we are not able to see, we don't look minutely, we see overall and we feel satisfied that this is something which we are familiar with. I must have seen HDFC's website hundreds of times, and when I see this, I will think, oh, it looks very similar, very, very close. So that's the answer to your question. People get phishing attacks like this.
But you are right in saying that if people design their architecture in such a way that much of the bulk has been kept in some mirror site which is not connected, then that will be safe. So, in fact, to respond to this thing, you see so many cyber crimes, but why are so many others not affected? Because they have kept those protective mechanisms. So, if you have all your data And the important phrase she used for education institutions was education institutions aren't very careful about it. We never thought that the data is valuable. We were looking at it as an efficiency device. See, one of the big problems about computers was that until few years ago, we never associated criminals with computers. Computer meant padha likha, bright boy, right? That fellow can also be a criminal has dawned only recently. And this is the big trauma. So we have all had faith in the, see, till you will recall so many, most of your passwords are managed by your computer guy. Most of this thing, we had great faith in computer people. Computer crime is a very recent phenomena when you have started to suspect them. Otherwise, they were your basic factors. So those people who have understood this, they keep not only against cyber attacks, even other natural attacks, earthquake, fire, this, that. So there is an idea of a backup, levels of backup, and backup being kept in faraway places also. And you only connect the two times for some update, transfer, etc. And that's almost an automated operation, free of human endeavor, so that you can't even bribe that person. I have the story, and today Bhupesh is not here, but anybody who's from Allahabad would like that story. So when I talk about backup in computer, I said, असली backup believe करने वाले वो लोग थे जो इलाहाबाद में रहे, क्योंकि उसके पहले के लोग जहाँ नदी मिलती थी रह जाते थे, नाइल में, यहाँ वहाँ सरजू नदी किनारे, किसी के किनारे, ये वो इलाहाबाद वाले के नहीं, जब तक दो नदी नहीं होंगी तब तक नहीं रहेंगे. तो एक यमुना होनी चाहिए, एक गंगा, एक बैकअप होनी चाहिए. एक नदी सूख गई तो क्या होगा? तो उनके अंदर ये बैकअप का ट्रेंड रहता है. So you are absolutely right there. And she is showing you illustrations how people deceive. And it is not only the lookout, it is the messages they give you. And ये बड़ा पुराना प्रिंसिपल है. हम लोग दो चीज से होते हैं, एक ग्रीड और एक फियर. एक तो फियर, योर अकाउंट विल बी लॉक्ड आउट, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू गेट दिस विल हैपन, मिडनाइट टुडे दिस विल हैपन, यू गेट वेरी मच पैनिकी एंड यू वांट टू डू दैट. द अदर इज इफ यू डू दिस यू विल गेट सो मच मोर मनी. क्या $100 million आर वेटिंग टू बी क्रेडिटेड टू योर अकाउंट. ना यूज तो भाई हमें कोई ₹1 तो आसानी से देता नहीं है. 100 million कौन दे देगा सडनली, जिसको हम जानते भी नहीं है, बट यू आर विलिंग टू बिलीव इट. सो दिस इज द एस्पेक्ट, दैट्स व्हाई इट्स कॉल्ड सोशल इंजीनियरिंग. एंड ये पुराने ज़माने से चला आ रहा है. आप में से जो औरतें जाते घर में, औरतों के पास जाते थे जब हस्बैंड नहीं हो, सोना को दूना कर देंगे, जो रुपया है उसको दूना कर देंगे. और वो औरतें थोड़ा सोना देती थी, फिर वो दूना कर देता था, फिर एक दिन सब सोना लेके गायब हो जाता था. तो वो है, हाँ, बर्तन के ऊपर वो. सो दीज थिंग्स एंड इट इज ऑल दैट इट इज नाउ इज इट इज बिकम मोर रैम्पेंट, मोर ईजियर, मोर पर्सनलाइज. आई गेट दिस ऑल द टाइम. मेरे को एक दिन सडनली आएगा, आपको यूनेस्को में लेवल 8 जॉब मिल जाएगा, ये मिल जाएगा, वो मिल जाएगा, $2,500 भेज दीजिए. अब हम तो यूनेस्को में लिखते रखते दिए हुए हैं, तो हम जानते हैं कि वहाँ ये प्रोसेसिंग फ़ी नहीं होती है, जो होती है कुछ और. बट अदरवाइज आप बड़े अट्रैक्टिव लगे, आपको लगेगा $100,000 टैक्स फ्री मिलने जा रहा है, $2,500 क्या होता है, दे दो. तो दिस इज द आइडिया दैट दे कीप ऑन डूइंग. सो एज शी इज सेइंग, alert is very important, and whenever somebody is offering you something, just supply. मुझे क्यों दे रहा है ये, किस बात का दे रहा है?
I'll give you one more example.
Continue.
Yeah, I have this, you can keep it. Okay. So, I recently came across with a case. Somebody called me and said that I've got cheated and frauded. I come across a lot of such cases. People approach me to help them solve their cyber crimes, fraud cases. So, a person got a call saying that I am offering you a gold credit card. These many miles are already in it. आपको 2 foreign tickets मिलेगी उसके अंदर, unlimited access to the airport lounge, and 1 free Android phone. And the person was very happy. He said, free Android phone, okay, great. तो उसने बोला हाँ ठीक है, process my papers. 2 दिन में उसको Android phone घर पे deliver भी हो गया, nicely packed, brand new Android phone. No problem. Started using that phone. After 2 months, he lost everything that he had in his bank account. 54 rupees बचा उसके बैंक में, because the phone was already loaded with spyware, malware, everything. The moment the person started using it, everything got, out of that. His banking account were accessed. his personal details, his passwords, everything, whatever he was using on that mobile phone, everything these people have access to, and they kind of took advantage of that. Absolutely, and a lot of people are getting deceived like this. Like I said, it's very important to be updated with what kind of scams are happening, because every day these people are inventing new ways to scam people. पुराने तरीके तो काम नहीं करेंगे. जैसे सर ने बोला, अगर कोई बोलेगा अब आपको कि आप मुझे 20 लाख दे दो, एक महीने में 40 लाख कर दूंगा, सबको मालूम है नहीं होगा वो. So they have to come up with new methods. They have to come up with new ways to hack into your system, to be able to make you take that action. So this is why these kind of case studies help you understand what's going on in the world. I got a call last night around 9 o'clock. There was a young person, early 20s, lost 18 lakhs. How? He started an online business. Somebody said, घर बैठ के आप पैसे कमा सकते हो, आपको सिर्फ मूवी रिव्यूज़ करना है. बहुत ही सिंपल बिजनेस है. कुछ मूवीज़ को घर बैठे बैठे रिव्यू करना है, हर मंथ आपको 2 से 4 लाख रुपए मिलते जाएंगे. उसका मैकेनिज्म ऐसा था कि वो एक पर्सन को धीरे धीरे पैसे इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए बोलते हैं कि अब आप इस लेवल पे आ गए हो, थोड़ा सा और डाल दो, आप इस लेवल पे चले जाओगे. सो ऐसे करते करते उसके पास में फाइनेंसेस अवेलेबल नहीं है. उसने लोन लिया अपने फ्रेंड्स एंड रिलेटिव से. ही लॉस्ट 18 lakhs. सो नाउ ही इज़ वरीड कि हाउ विल आई पे इट बैक, आई एम नॉट गेटिंग एनी मनी. उसके अकाउंट में जो वो बिजनेस कर रहा है उसमें बैलेंस शो कर रहा है 54 lakhs. पर वो तो सिर्फ पेपर पे है ना. उसको दिख रहा है कि हाँ ठीक है, आई एम गेटिंग दिस मनी, बट इट्स नॉट देयर, इट्स जस्ट अ मैसेज. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज दिस scam is called movie review scam. A lot of people have lost a lot of money in it. There is a couple in Ahmedabad, they lost 1 crore because of this scam. So these new methods are coming up. The scammers, the criminals are giving you free stuff. You would not even imagine getting a free Android phone, but there it is at your doorstep. You want to say something?
You know, even a company like Paytm, which is supposed to be one of the biggest payment banks, just about 2 months ago, they launched this Paytm Lite, UPI Lite. उसमें उन्होंने इंसेंटिव ये दिया कि if you take this UPI Lite account, we'll pay you back 100 rupees or 200 rupees. You just have to charge it. And I took it. And now what's happening, because I am from the financial world, so I know what goes on. Ultimately, where these people make money is the money that of ours that lies in the Paytm account. It could be 1,000 rupees, it could be 10,000 rupees. Nobody bothers about it. जैसे savings bank account में पड़ता है, and they hardly pay any interest, 2%, 2.5% or something. So Paytm, of course, that is free, but they lend that money to the traders. So this was on another person who was running this Bharat Pay. I think he was there on that seminar, and he said, I make money because that Bharat Pay then further lends to the traders or the shopkeepers. And they are very clear at a high rate of interest. That money comes to that Bharat Pay account. So if he doesn't pay up the loan that he has taken, I have that account, I can deduct it from that account, because a trader will always have money coming in, going out. And if you notice, when you withdraw money from Paytm, they make a fee on it. So the scam in this Paytm UPI Lite is, now whatever payments that I am making to another banking channel, it could be Bharat Pay, it could be Phone Pay, it could be anything else, they are straight deducting my money from my bank account. The Paytm account, whatever I put in the Paytm account, that remains with the Paytm people. So now I have been trying to unload that UPI Lite, what I took about 2 months ago, but I have asked my computer experts and everything, I am not able to close that UPI account. So list a reputed company like Paytm, how they scam you. The money is straight being deducted from your bank account, no longer from the Paytm account, and that Paytm account is lying with Paytm itself. So this is a sophisticated way of a regular company that is scamming you in this way. So it's not just the scamming criminals who are doing it, but sophisticated people who know how to operate the system, how they are scamming you. अच्छा, एक चीज और हो गई. Earlier on my Paytm account, I could see my password, what I was punching in. But ever since this last 2 months that I've been taking that UPI Lite, I can't see my password. They've removed that thing in it. So I'm very uncomfortable. Have I punched a wrong password? What have I done? So a hacker can then figure out how have I, what is the password that can be taken. अच्छा जो यूपीआई लाइट में उन्होंने 100 रुपए या 200 रुपए क्रेडिट किए थे वो वहीं के वहीं पड़े. So that incentive that they gave to me to take that UPI light is still lying, that money is lying with them. So look at the extent of how many lakhs and crores of people will have a Paytm account, and if they just click on taking that UPI light, जो वो इंसेंटिव दे रहे हैं वो भी उनके पास ही पड़ा है, जो पेटीएम में अकाउंट पड़ा है पेटीएम में ही पड़ा है. आप पेटीएम टू पेटीएम पे कर रहे हो फिर तो ठीक है, वो पैसा निकल गया. अगर आप पेटीएम से अलावा किसी अकाउंट को पे कर रहे हो, फोन पे या क्या कहते हैं भारत पे और एनीथिंग, दैट मनी इज गेटिंग डिडक्टेड फ्रॉम योर बैंक अकाउंट. So, there are very, very sophisticated things that are going on in the financial world of regular companies who are scamming you in this way.
is everyone back?
Yes, please. Hello.
Okay, so
Okay.
last we left at website spoofing. I'm going to give you one more example. This is a duplicate website of CBSE. This news is from December 2022, when a lot of children were looking to register themselves for the exams. This website came up, and as a result, thousands of children lost the registration money because this website, they thought that it's the original website. Another example of website spoofing, as you can see over there, these are the list of all the universities. Scammers ने इनके duplicate websites बनाए और वहीं enrollment किया students को. They charge them anywhere between 10,000 to few lakhs. For many years, people did not know that they are not registering themselves for an official university or a college. And when this was brought to the light, it was found out that more than 50,000 people were scammed because of fake websites. Another example of creating fear in people to act on a phishing scam is this email. It tells people that either they have not given their proper details or they haven't submitted the form properly. So you should click to submit a request and give your details once again. These are few messages commonly known as KYC scam. So messages from an SBI account, from electricity department that your power will be disconnected if you don't give your details, submit the bill. Paytm has been blocked, and ICICI Bank saying that your KYC is not updated. You should click on this and update all your details. We have already discussed the cases which nowadays I come across and see people get scammed and lose a lot of money. Another very important thing people fall in trap for is when they look for a customer care number online. They just Google, and whatever number comes up, they just call that number. But thousands of such numbers are online right now on Google, which are not from the company. They may look like they are helpline numbers, but they are not. So I personally know a few people who tried to book a ticket through a helpline number and they lost lakhs of money. Surprisingly, these people advertise themselves also. So you will see that a lot of legitimate activity is going on, but they are not. So before you click on something, what if somebody or something may tell you that whether this is a scam or not? So I am giving you this tool. Please note it down somewhere. Whenever there is something that you need to click on, you must copy that URL, go to this website called Virus Total. So I am giving you two tools. One is urlscan.io, one is Virus Total. So if you go there and you paste your URL, it will give you an exact summary of how many threads are there in that URL and the detailed list of all those threads. Whether there is a potentially malicious software in that or not, it will tell you which country, the origin, and a lot of other details so that you can take an informed decision. So another very important thing is that people often, yes.
Just wanted to add that
So why don't you?
So just wanted to add that one very common way of checking whether you are on a proper website or not, just look at the HTTP address. So whether it is HTTP or HTTPS. If it is not HTTPS, please don't provide any details. That's basically something very harmful, possibly harmful web page. So you should not put any details on a page which is not HTTPS. So I think जब भी आप देखेंगे, so unless or until that HTTPS is there. Secondly, in SMS, the mandate is that all the companies, the legal senders should be having a character-based sender. It should not be a number. So when you get a SMS, so the sender name should not be a number. should be at least some characters.
For example, this message, it's
So it is
transmitted
having
from this
some number. So that number indicates that it's not coming from a legit company.
So if you look
Because the
carefully, this message is from Paytm, but if you see, look at here, there is no indication that it is coming from Paytm. If you pay attention, these smaller details can actually tell people.
Right.
आपने HTTPS बोला, अगर कोई URL को ही देख ले ध्यान से, तो बहुत सारे scams तो वैसे ही सेव हो जाएंगे.
Right, right. So any time you are providing your details, whether even if you are providing your name, address or anything, you should first check the URL and ensure that HTTPS is there.
Thank you. Absolutely, go for it. So,
I can't making a comment.
जी.
She showed this thing from the income tax department. It is enough to scare anybody here. But you have to appreciate the brilliance of some people in Noida who did this for the US people and sent them a message from the IRS and said, if you don't go and deposit so much money there, you will have this. So Noida से अमेरिका वालों को बेवकूफ बना के डॉलर. So when I was talking about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, I really realized, and I am saying brilliant, because what more do you want?
The
So
whole
that's-
world has become one now.
Huh?
I mean, I must give this appreciation to criminals. They don't discriminate.
No, I have said very often. Actually, one of the courses that I used to teach was on fraud examiner. There's a qualification called certified fraud examiner, just like there is CFA, certified financial analyst, and I used to do courses for some of them. And that is what I used to tell them very often, that a great fraudulent person is a very creative and brilliant person. Because he creates something of this kind. सोचो यहाँ नोएडा में बैठ के यूएस का IRS का वो करके लोगों से पैसा कुछ भी तुम्हारे में ये कमी है इतना वहाँ डिपॉजिट करके आओ इतना यहाँ डिपॉजिट और वहाँ जो लोग रहते हैं वो लोग कर लेते हैं. Anyway,
तो बताओ कैसे करना. इनको ये ओपन करना. जी. मुझे passportmonster.com ओपन करना. जी.
Normally on Facebook, you find somebody selling something or asking you to book a slot here for something.
Yeah.
How do you know that it is authentic or not? Like you provide details of your name, phone number, etc. there.
Yeah.
So how do you get to know that?
So as a rule, there are a couple of things that I want to share with everyone. One, do not sign in with your banking phone number anywhere. Keep a separate phone number whenever you want to sign in. Banking phone number को तो वैसे भी sign up के लिए यूज़ ही नहीं करना चाहिए, चाहे कितना भी authentic website हो. क्योंकि बहुत सारी ऐसी websites हैं जो बहुत, for example, you must have used a lot of services, and abhi I'm going to just do a live demo for you. A lot of times websites are hacked, attacked, like Domino's का काफ़ी सारा data release हुआ था और वो dark web पे sell हो गया, तो lakhs of people were compromised. Now whoever signed up with them, gave them their phone number, home address and more details like that. Now scammers have access to all of that just because one data breach happened. So data breaches are happening top, right, left, center, and your number, the moment a website has a data breach, your number is also out there in the open. So as a rule, create a dummy Gmail or any other email account for signups. Like I don't have my name, my country, origin country, or maybe timeline or any other indication like that. You create a dummy email for signups, and you never use your banking phone number. There are so many facilities now. You can go to websites and create a virtual phone number for free. So if you like, you can use that.
Okay, I have done with my banking numbers itself.
One must not.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Ji.
So what you're talking about, sir, fraudulent teacher and master. So I was reminded of my chemistry 2 or 3 days. Of course, the guest lecturer was our Bharatatna, Dr. C.N.R. Rao, and the course in charge was P.K. Ghosh. So ये बड़ा common होता है कि हम copy करते हैं. But the teacher is always smarter than the student. This I learnt at IIT Kanpur. हम अपने आप को बहुत smart समझते हैं, but the teacher is always smarter. So what PK Ghosh did in that exam, he gave a Q&A with multiple choices, and वो L7 ही था तब, हमारा auditorium नहीं था, we were about I think 200 plus students. He distributed 4 sets of questions. So anybody who was not paying attention and was just seeing what the other person has ticked, so उसको गलत आंसर मिलेगा. And there was a negative marking. So people ended up getting negative marks in that exam. So you know, this is what it is. Even in my first year.
Question same. But the known and unknown are different for those 4 pairs.
Correct, correct.
एक में speed दी है, distance पूछी है. एक में ये दिया, speed so they are quarreling, trying to copy because the 2 questions they look the same. Everything is same. But the known unknown are complementary.
So basically, even in a physics 102, I think practical that I was doing, वो आप normally used to delegate that to your associate, your research associate, to conduct those practicals. Now he used to, because it was a physical world, he used to write the marks. But he has his own codes that were there. Suppose he has given you a B, and you feel very happy because we used to see what is the way that his handwriting is moving, and obviously you were facing him. But that B meant actually a D. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to add to what Vandana's thought is. You got to be smarter than the criminal. And this is one education people don't realize that we get at the IIT system, because the teachers are so bright, then the students also catch up with the brightness of the students. So that cat and mouse story or the thief and cops theory, one has to be aware. So in my entire working life also, I realized this. You can't make a law to catch a thief. So one of my, very ordinary persons who was my employee, कि साहब ऐसा कोई ताला नहीं बना जो चोर जो है उसकी चाबी ना निकाल ले. So that is the same story that goes on in this cyber security.
Yeah.
You always got to be on alert.
Yes.
You will find out new tools, but that criminal will find out even better tools. So this story has gone on for eternally and will go on eternally. So thank you.
There was a time making a fake profile used to take so much time and effort to find a perfect picture who looks decent, to find the perfect credentials so that nobody should reach back to that person and tell them that your image is being used for fake profile. Now it has become so simple. AI is giving more tools to scammers, and let me show you something. So this is an AI tool, and it will give you a copyright free image which does not exist in the world. इस website का नाम ही है thispersondoesnotexist.com. So all you have to do is, for example, this person is there, this image is there. You can download this photo for your project, download it for free, and you can do whatever you want with this image. Nobody will come back and say, that this is a image of a person. Look how alike this picture looks to an actual human being. Now I want to create fake profile pictures. All I need to do is go in this website, and at the click of a button, gender, for example, female, age maybe 19 to 25 because उसी की सबसे ज़्यादा friend request accept होती है, और ethnicity Asian, black, white, Indian. So if I want to scam Indian people, I should go for white. Refresh image. There. Now you have a copyright free image. I can create a fake profile with this image. Yeah.
What if there's an actual person that looks like this? Will that be considered a copyright?
I think if that happens, then the person will find it hard to go back to where their image is being misused. Because
It's like a pretty normal white person
Yes,
in Russia,
absolutely,
actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be very surprised if this image has a doppelganger somewhere. Yeah. And you can do this all day long. आप अगले आधे घंटे में जो भी जितने मर्जी चाहे आप, मैंने सिर्फ एक वेरिएबल इसके अंदर चेंज किया है. If I refresh the image, it will give me another copyright free.
You are right. This is one of my favorite sites I used to.
Now, this is somebody, I'm sorry.
See, what it says is this picture has not been taken of any known person. But if there is a person who is like that, they cannot guarantee. All that they're guaranteeing is that no known person is this thing. And those of you who remember, somewhat old timer, maybe Ashok remembers, एक ज़माने में एक पिक्चर आई थी, उसमें ये होता है कि the hero is stuck on a flying wheel all night with the heroine. And he doesn't have the courage to come home and tell his wife, मैं रात भर किसी लड़की के साथ फ्लाइंग व्हील पे टॉप में था. तो वो कहता है क्या था, मैं एक ने दोस्त कहता है, उसके दोस्त का नाम क्या है, चंपक भूमिया. फिर कुछ कहता है, फिर कुछ कहता है. And the wife, being a suspicious wife, sends a letter to that, and there is a Champak Bhumia there. And so you are absolutely right. It is quite possible somebody looks like that. What they are saying, we have created it artificially by looking at it. It's like a fingerprint. We have artificially created a fingerprint. If there is a human being whose fingerprint matches with us, we don't know. But we have not done it through a human being. So it is indemnifying you against that copyright. But if somebody comes like that, that's a different issue.
So the whole thing for scammers is that you use this image and do a reverse image search, which is the best way to find out if your image has been ever used for creating a fake profile. If you can use your image and do a free image search on Google, you will come to know where your images are used to sign up or wherever you exist. So if you do a reverse image search with this picture, nothing will come up.
Yeah, that is right. But still there could be somebody who is not part of the database which is born into.
But that's the point of my question, because let's just say there is no person on the internet that looks like this. But let's just say that this person right here, is an actual human being who actually does look like this.
So if I am a cyber criminal, do you think this will be a cause of worry for me?
No,
this person
but for
exists
this
somewhere?
website, they're claiming that...
मुझे तो लोगों को scam करना. I'm sorry, मैं बार-बार आई बोलती हूँ. A cyber criminal's main intention is to scam people.
No, but they're allowing this to be used for copyright-free purposes, right?
Yes.
Right, but if a person who actually looks like, say, puts a claim that I do not...
So my advice is don't use these images for a multi-million advertising campaign if you are worried about losing.
I guess.
Yeah, so you can use it to scam people to create a fake profile, but don't use it on a billboard to create 10 or 20 crores ad campaign. If this person shows up, you will have to pay him the royalty.
See, even then the consequences are there. See, it isn't automatic. So when something happens, you will say, I didn't know that I accepted. Apology is my compensation.
Yeah.
Recently, I think we have seen images of Lord Rama. भगवान राम की भी फोटो मतलब AI से क्रिएट करके सर्कुलेट की गई है. तो
particularly if you find that somebody has to get money from someone and they are not emotionally attached to a person, and voice cloning is done effectively,
So
and
you
you
will be horrified to
tend
know
to
that this scam is going
sell
on.
out the money.
This scam is going on in US. A lot of people are getting scammed. What happens is that a family member gets a call. उस कॉल के ऊपर उनके फैमिली मेम्बर की आवाज़ होती है कि मुझे बचा लो, आई एम इन ट्रबल. और उसके बाद में वो आवाज़ बंद हो जाती है और एक आदमी ज़ोर से चिल्ला के बोलता है कि अगर तुम्हें ये वापस चाहिए तो इतने पैसे ट्रांसफ़र करो. उसके बाद में वो बैकग्राउंड में रोने की आवाज़ आती है, लेकिन ये आदमी चिल्ला के बोल रहा होता है. तो जिस पर्सन को अपना लव्ड वन उस फ़ोन के पीछे, और यहाँ तक कि वो फ़ोन भी स्कैम करते हैं, स्पूफ करते हैं, और वो आइडेंटिकल नंबर होता है जिसको उन्होंने ये पूरा नैरेटिव क्रिएट किया है कि वी हैव अबडक्टेड दिस पर्सन, तो उसी का फ़ोन नंबर यूज़ करते हैं, उसी की आवाज़ में होता है वो. और उसके द पर्सन हु इज़ गेटिंग स्कैम्ड, द फैमिली मेम्बर, वो तो बहुत ज़्यादा एंग्शियस हो जाते हैं. ऑफ कोर्स इट्स अ पैनिकिंग सिचुएशन, They don't know what to do. So they want to remain on the phone call. The other person is yelling and shouting at them and saying, इसी वक्त पैसे transfer करो, वरना अच्छा नहीं होगा, वरना ये person जिंदा नहीं मिलेगा तुमको. So they don't know what to do. So what they are doing is they are creating the voice sample on AI based on if the other person has somewhere spoken, somewhere uploaded their voice sample like on social media, on YouTube. It's very easy to create that sample with the help of AI. So that is happening. Criminals are getting more advanced and more cyber AI savvy than us. So in this case, अगर यहाँ इंडिया में ऐसा कुछ होता है, अभी तो नहीं हो रहा है, we haven't heard of something like this, but in case something happens, आपके साथ हुआ है, so in that case करना ये चाहिए कि you should hang up on this number and call back. जिस भी person के फ़ोन से आपको कॉल आई है, आपको उसको वापस कॉल बैक करना चाहिए. तो आपको फिर एग्जैक्ट सिनेरियो पता चल जाएगा whether this is real or not. You should always call back.
ये रियल यूएस का ही एग्जांपल है सर. फादर को एक डॉक्टर की कॉल आई थी और उसने भी ये सोचकर कि वो खतरे में है पैसे दे दिए. फिर दोबारा फिर उनकी कॉल आई और उस वक्त उनकी वाइफ ने फ़ोन उठाया. उसने क्या किया, डिस्कनेक्ट करके अपनी बेटी को ही फ़ोन मिला लिया और वो कहती मैं तो यहाँ बैठी हूँ. मीन्स फिर वो उस आदमी का इंटरव्यू लिया, वो कहता है वो दैट आई मिस्ड. मीन्स जब उसको मालूम है, उसको कोई कह रहा है कि ये आपका बच्चा मेरे कब्जे में है, ट्राई कॉलिंग द बच्चा नंबर. वो उसने
लेकिन उस वक्त क्या होता है ना सर कि हम इतना ज़्यादा हताश और परेशान होते हैं ना, व्हेन इट दिस क्वेश्चन ऑफ वेलबींग ऑफ योर लव्ड वन, वी रियली डोंट हैव द बेस्ट ऑफ एबिलिटी ऑफ थिंकिंग ऑन द स्पॉट एट दैट टाइम. मैं आपको एक बात बताती हूँ. एक आई वॉज ऑन, देयर वॉज अ गर्ल हु वॉज ऑन रेडियो शो. तो उसके साथ क्या हुआ, वो कैब में बैठी थी और कैब ड्राइवर ने वो मतलब रात के टाइम पे जैसे कैब लेते हैं लोग, तो वो उसको ऑफ रूट किसी और सुनसान रास्ते पे ले गया. वो लड़की इतना घबरा गई, उसने फ़ोन करने की कोशिश करी, उसके हाथ में मोबाइल फ़ोन था. उसने बहुत कोशिश की कि मैं अपने स्क्रीन का पैटर्न या अनलॉक नंबर जो भी था वो याद करे, लेकिन उसे याद नहीं आया. और वो इतना पैनिक में आ गई कि बहुत देर तक वो ट्राई करते रही, अलग अलग पैटर्न्स, अलग अलग नंबर्स. उसका फ़ोन अनलॉक ही नहीं हुआ, वो कॉल ही नहीं कर पाई. बाद में उसको जब वो सारा फियास्को ख़त्म हो गया, शी एडमिटेड शी हैड नो लॉक स्क्रीन, but she was so panicked at that situation, she thought that she cannot open her phone without putting in that code. So when the panicking situation happens, we lose the capability of intellectually responding to that situation. So इस बारे में अगर आपको पहले से पता है, अगर आपके पास कोई ऐसी फ़ोन कॉल आती है, now you know that this is a trap, this is a red flag, you don't have to fall for it.
And they play on the fear.
Yes, and can you imagine inciting like this kind of fear? Anyway.
That's exactly what I did. I just called up the person.
Yeah.
This particular person is in our custody. He is going to be deported from Canada, so you please pay so much money. And I said, okay, but I don't have any money at the moment and I don't have any bank account which is internationally enabled. So please call me after half an hour. So we don't have half an hour. I said, I mean, it's your choice. I can't do anything because I just don't have a bank account. Within half an hour, I called the person and for me, I am hale and hearty. What is the problem?
Yeah.
So
this is going on. Yes. So a very, very important factor of keeping your, everything that you have safe is password. Of course, a lot of time banking information, your own personal, social media IDs and even your email, which is very, very important because everything that you have on your phone automatically gets synced with your Gmail ID, and having the password security is very, very important. So let's generate the perfect password which can never be hacked. Let's find out which will be a good password to have, because now what has happened is that years and years of collecting the information has given a very vast repository to scammers. Whatever password dictionary word you can think of, they already have that password somewhere in their database and they can easily hack it. Let me show you something. For example, I write here, I am a cupcake. This is a perfectly long and very unusual password, but look, it will take 3 minutes to hack this password. Let's take another word which you find very, very unusual. Say something which is so unusual. Pick up any word. Pick up any word which you think is so unusual that you have, you are very confident that इसका तो कोई guess भी नहीं कर सकता इसको. Let's have some inputs from the audience.
Word या combination which I use as a password.
Whatever your heart desires.
Capital Q, capital C. Capital Q, capital C. And.
Now you are tricking this.
1940.
I'm sorry, you are not in the game. Someone else, you are too smart. All right, so let's have any other thing which you think is unusual. Let's say flying pig. Flying pig. It can be, it is very, very unusual, but it can still, pug लिखा है ना मैंने इसीलिए इतना time लगा इसको. If I write simply flying pig, it will take the system to crack it in 98 seconds. It will be cracked. So a lot of times we really don't give much attention to what password we are having. We try and just put together some words which are lengthy, some words which are unusual, but still scammers have a vast repository of those words. So let's find out how you can create the perfect password. What is your mother's maiden name?
What is?
Your mother's maiden name. यहाँ लिखिए आप उसको. And I will teach you how to create a perfect password. What was your first pet? Write the name of your first pet. What was your maiden name? How about that? Write anything which was an unusual part of your life. लिख दिया ना आपने? लिख दिया ना आपने?
हाँ, क्या?
यही तो मैं मना कर रही हूँ इतनी देर से नहीं करना है, आपने फिर भी कर दिया.
क्या कहना?
I am telling you not to share your personal information with strangers. You've given me a perfect gateway. If I want to hack your account, social media, it will ask me details. Your birth year, your mother's maiden name, your first pet. I can easily hack your account now.
हाँ, ऐसा लिखा है, but
ऐसा नहीं लिखना है.
no, but listen.
जी.
But this may not be correct one I write it.
It's okay, but you scam the scammer.
I invariably write wrong number.
Right. So if you try and use something.
I write wrong number. Because one of the person who asked me one question, he was the mind reader.
Yeah.
A mind reader asked me, imagine a number.
जी.
I imagined a number.
Right.
So you tell me what is the number.
Yeah.
I'll not tell you, tell me.
Yeah.
He said 9. I know that I imagined 9. I said it is wrong. I imagined 9. And he said you imagined 9, but I said it's wrong. It is I imagined 7. Then he got flabbergasted. I said never share your secret.
Never share.
That is the one.
So let me share with you.
That principle. Because
a lot of people.
this is how they empower you, they overpower you. Many of these, the God's men, they read mind. They get information beforehand, before you reach. What has happened to you, that data are with them. And you get so much influence, and it may be correct, but you always say, no, that's wrong. And they get shock of their life. It may be correct, and you never get, they will get shock of their life, because they know all the data. When I wrote the name,
so let me
it was a totally wrong name.
Totally wrong name, fair enough. So let me show you how a lot of people jeopardize their own security. 1111, very common password. 0 seconds to hack. How about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 0 seconds to hack. So a perfect way to create a good password is to go on this website and write what you imagining your password to be, and it will tell you whether it's a weak password, strong password or medium password. So will you use this website? You are out of the game. I am not talking to you, I am not playing with you. Never ever put your password anywhere, no matter how trusted the website looks. This may be another way of collecting all the passwords.
I never write a very difficult password.
Okay, what do you normally use?
I write.
Okay.
And
how do you remember it then next time? What was it?
I just write a number.
Okay, all right.
Can anyone get it?
Yeah,
on-
let's try it. It's in front of you. I will tell
You
you.
write just right?
Tell me. What is your password?
You write 1942. 1942.
1942.
GDS 1942.
GDS. Okay. GDS.
1942.
Is it capital or small?
Anything.
Anything. Okay.
Yeah.
1942.
PW.
PW.
That's all.
So it will take 1 year to.
Yeah, sec.
Huh?
Is it okay? One more number?
You have given me your password again.
Oh, no.
Never do that. अभी
Huh?
तो मैं इतनी देर से आपको बोल रही हूँ password नहीं देना है अपना किसी को भी.
No. Can anyone hack this?
I just did.
You can.
I did right now after talking
But
to you.
you couldn't reach my computer. You couldn't reach my computer because what I gave number was not reaching to the computer.
Okay, how much do you want to bet if I can reach your computer or not?
How you reach to the computer?
You want to
That's
bet?
that is the query in my mind.
In front of all these people.
That
Let's
how
have a
you-
game.
Because how you reach to the computer by simple doing several permutation combination. Now with AI you can do hundreds of permutation combination.
Yes.
But how do you reach to the computer?
I will take an appointment with you, come to your house, have a cup of tea with you and hack your computer. Alright, so let me just give you an example of how a complicated password needs to be generated, and you can use this website and it will give you exact time of how much time that password will be taken to hack. For example, जो सर ने बोला, he was saying maybe $@123# again weak password. So you need to. Okay, बताएं. Capital Q, capital C.
At the rate of 4 times.
1, 2, 3, 4. 22 seconds.
Then
अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ.
All right.
1947
1947.
percentage sign.
देखो इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होने के बाद भी इट इज सेइंग 1 hour इट विल बी हैक्ड.
लगाते ही 12 दिन होता है.
अच्छा ठीक है. 3 दिन हो गया. आई थिंक सिस्टम हैज बिकम स्मार्टर नाउ. आपने जब चेक किया होगा 12 दिन होगा, अब 3 दिन हो गया. अच्छा ओके. ऑलराइट. सो
No, but this is something I can remember.
yes.
Things are- you have to repeat.
So use this website to see if your password is strong or weak, but never write your original password anywhere including this website, because like I said, it could be another way of cyber criminals to have enhanced their repository of passwords. So they have a very unique mechanism when they collect information from somewhere else and they match it with some other information which they collected from somewhere else. Small little dots that you leave behind are connected together to create a larger picture of you, which is very easy to hack into.
Vanda, the question I wanted to ask you, like in the Aadhaar card, they've gone to iris scans
Yeah.
and also fingerprints.
Yeah.
Now they say that the fingerprints and the iris scans are unique.
Yeah.
So is there any study or work that is being done where we can set up our passwords through our iris scans and fingerprints?
So
Because they say they are unique, so just finish. This is the story that my mother told me when I was young. My Nana was in the service of the Kota Maharaja. So a very unique case came before him where a dead person had died and the son of that dead person, put the fingerprints of his father and made a will. And the Maharaja was very smart. He immediately detected कि ये मरे हुए आदमी का तूने कैसे फिंगरप्रिंट लगा दिया. Because unfortunately I am told as the dead body goes, the fingerprints erase over a time. So that is one question I wanted to ask you. And just in your humor, there is this niece of mine who was killed by her husband, set on fire. And it was very unfortunate, the younger brother of that niece was very upset. So I never forget this incident. वो उसकी जन्मपत्री मेरी नीस की, मेरी साली की बेटी थी, वो ले गया एक जन्मपत्री पढ़ने वाले से. एंड हम इस साइंस को डिस्काउंट करते हैं, बट दैट जन्मपत्री पढ़ने वाला, आई वॉज रिमाइंडेड बिकॉज यू आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन ऑफ चेंजिंग द थिंग्स. ही सेड कि मरे हुए पर्सन की तू क्यों जन्मपत्री लेके आया है और पूछने आया है कि क्या हुआ था. You know, that is what our Vedic sciences and the other knowledges were there. But that is just an incident I wanted to share. I wanted to ask a question. Is any work going on in this direction?
So let me share something with you which I find very disturbing. A lot of times on social media you will find people playing that game, how will you look when you become old? Or maybe how will you look if you shift your age from 5 years to 50 years. What you are doing at that time is you are providing your facial scan, iris scan, biometrics, everything directly looking into the camera. Somewhere is collecting that data and creating a repository which can hack into your system using your facial features later on in your life. What did you get in the end? By using that app, you just got to see how you will look in 50 years, which will anyway happen. So you will get to see yourself in 50 years, and you probably share it with your social media friends and everybody laughs at it, but at what cost? Now recently, our government has started facial scanning on airports. You don't need to be in the queue. आप अपना फेस स्कैन करके आप चेक इन कर सकते हो. But how safe is that entire system? Who is guarding it? Who is storing your information? Where is it getting stored? And what are the measures to safeguard that information? I am asking you not to short sell your biometrics for such thrills or maybe such little conveniences in your life. Your biometrics are something which should be held very dearly. I am just talking about password here, but what actually people are doing it without thinking, they are sharing their biometrics almost at every platform. So I think I have made my point here. I would like you to assess, जैसा कि मैम ने बोला अभी कि it's very difficult to, a lot of times people sign in with their email IDs and their phone numbers. So a very good way to check whether your information has suffered any breach or not is to use this website. Now what I would like you to do is write your email ID which you frequently use. Can you access this website on your phones, or maybe if somebody would like to volunteer, we can check if your data is breached or not. So I would like somebody to tell me their email ID or maybe phone number, and we can check right away if your phone number and your email ID has been breached. SH Subhranshu. Oh. Shubhransh. Okay. Why don't you come here and write it?
What is the name of this? What is the URL?
Have I been pawned? Have I been pawned all in one.com. And whenever you use your email ID or a phone number to check into any website or something like that, a lot of times what happens is that when they get breached, your data and your information details also get breached. And whenever you are using your banking phone number or your banking email ID and it gets into the hands of scammers, they very easily can access your account. You have been pawned.
Oh yeah, I can see that one is 7
Okay.
healthy now.
So here is where the breach has happened. You can see that these are the websites जहाँ पे आपने साइन इन करने के लिए यूज़ किया, और डोमिनो के बारे में मैंने आपको बताया था 2021 में they actually got hacked and a lot of data got out. So these are the websites where you signed in using your email ID, primary email ID, and now you are breached. So if you read this one here, compromised data क्या क्या है? Date of birth, email address, IP address, name, passwords, phone numbers, physical address. Everything has been taken by this and it is breached now. So Canva ने क्या किया? लूज किया. Compromised data is email address, geographic location, name, password, username. So if you have stored any passwords in your phone, that is also gone.
So how do I deal with this then?
The perfect way to deal with this is, if you know that your email ID has been breached, there is a process called kill your email ID. Do not change it, kill it. Kill your password, I'm sorry, not email ID. Keep the email ID, change the password entirely. Don't write, if earlier it was 1 2 3 4, don't write 1 2 3 4 5 6. That is changing the password. If earlier it was 1 2 3 4, write A B C D E. So completely kill the password and keep something entirely different, so that these are not able to access your account. And
we can have another data breach again in the future.
yes,
And I'll have to change it again.
yes, it's very good to keep scanning yourself, to keep checking where you have been breached. And I suggest strongly that not to use your. Good, congratulations.
So how many days after we have to change that?
So passwords के बारे में कहा जाता है. Okay. Passwords are like underwears. Never share them with anyone and change them frequently. So, if you have kept a password, do not marry it for the rest of your life. Keep changing it every 15 days or 1 month. So,
an element which is still inside the system. So unless we have cleaned the system, it may stay there even if you change your password. Now, how these things happen, that when we install any app, और जब से EU ने GDPR compulsory किया, तो if you visit a website,
you're jumping the.
no, हाँ वो, so if you visit a website, it forces you to say yes to installation of cookies. So these are the dangerous things. So in case if you think that some breach has happened, try to, in your computer system, in the browser, in your C drive, there is a folder under Windows operating system, if it is your Windows machine, a temporary folder which stores all these things. You can at least once a week try, and it will release the space as well and delete all those things from there. Similarly, the browser cache memory, try to clean it. In your phone also. And there are certain trusted cleaners which you can install on your phone that will remove. Because unless you remove those things, even if you have changed your password, the enemy is still inside our home. That needs to be, shunted out. Once it is there, then the things will become easy. So that's a right strategy to safeguard it. और इसमें आपका वो फ़ोन नंबर का भी बता देगा यहीं इसी साइट पर. And it doesn't store, means we can very well, just please type my phone number, like 966. You have to use international format, so +91 966 701 9838. So, good news for me at least. My phone is safe.
You did that just to rub it in everyone's face. Alright. So yes, please keep checking your mobile numbers and your email IDs, and do not use your primary email ID and primary phone number to access, check in, or maybe sign up. Never ever use your social media. It's a very easy way to sign up when you may have seen a lot of times sign up with your email ID, sign up with your Facebook. Never use your social media.
Through Crimson Rat RAT. This RAT stands for Remote Access Trojan. Trojan, as you know, as a piece of malicious software. So Crimson is the name now. This is what it does. It affects the legitimate documents which are shared and on the website, or like in India nowadays, we are freely downloading the new education policy. 2020 का NEP वाला डॉक्यूमेंट है, PDF के अंदर है. And Rahul ji बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, who is an expert on OS, INT and other things. और we are very famous for exchanging, सवेरे शुरू हो जाते हैं good morning images वाला करने के लिए. How दिवाली आ रही है, बिहू गया अभी, so all those images, they are being circulated. And it is very, very easy to hide a malicious code in any image. As soon as you open that, you don't see it happening in the back end, but it happens in the back end and it goes there. So this Crimson Rat, the remote access Trojan, it is attached to any legitimate document and it is circulated. And when that document is opened, it goes into the system, and from there it remains silently as the dormant period. And then once that gets activated, it gets spread it. So that's how the educational institution. Yeah, it changes the, no, the documents property नहीं करता. Yeah, that kind of. Okay.
So multi-factor authentication will save you from a lot of troubles. I once lost a very important Facebook account.
Hello. It can be biometrics, it can be a phone number, it can be an email ID, but have another way of authenticating your account. And you must do this for your banking accounts also. Now they offer multi-factor authentication. You must do it for your social media. Almost everywhere you are given a choice. Please opt for it.
One small mistake. If you use Google's mail server, whatever might be the amount of security that Gmail has, which is given free to you to use, is sufficient enough for a normal person to really work on. And despite the fact that you have in any other email for your business purposes, you should always use a Gmail account. That's my personal thing. I have repeatedly kind of kept changing my email that I use normally, which is a Gmail account.
Yeah.
And till date, I have not had any major breach. And today also I just checked, it's
safe. Good idea. Very good idea. Yeah, Gmail or any other reputed brand service normally.
How do they plant emails on your computer without knowing your passwords, etc., but they plant emails? How do they do it?
So you have left your traces of your footprints at a lot of places. कहीं ना कहीं आपने कुछ लिखा है, कहीं ना कहीं साइन अप किया है, और वो सारा जो डेटा है वो डार्क वेब पे भी और ओपन मार्केट में भी सेल होता रहता है. आज भी मैं बहुत ही कम अमाउंट में 10 लाख लोगों का डेटा खरीद सकता हूँ. मुझे कोई, और उसके लिए ऑथराइज्ड एजेंसीज भी हैं. आई कैन बाय पीपल, देयर नेम्स, फ़ोन नंबर्स, ईमेल आईडीज़, देयर एड्रेसेस. आई कैन ईजिली डू दैट. एंड व्हाट स्कैमर्स डू, spear phishing I mentioned, I think we skipped that topic. Spear phishing is a targeted attack. When I want to attack one person, I utilize various methods to extract information around that person and target that. But what phishing normally does is, scammers or cyber criminals cast a very wide net. They will have bulk emails, bulk SMSs be sent. Whoever falls in that trap falls in.
Do they collect the data of email from general email site, and then they start planting? They know that this email belongs to this such and such person. Because one day I got full report from a organization. This is a full report you go through, and I have not shared my email address, but maybe that email is known to everyone in terms of and they can plant the whole report. And what is the protection for that kind of thing?
So there is a website, using that we can find the organization email IDs. It's very common.
It's very, very
one thing I have noted about
these cases are already there.
So I can find out a lot about.
getting the password of any person. There is one, our skills. If I know my keyboard very well, if I remember the keys very well, and if you cannot type using both your hands, there are some people who still use, this style for typing the password. Even I don't see which key you are pressing, but I know that where places. If you are slow in typing, your password is highly unsafe. Because I can make a guess and then through various trials, it can be reached. And it happens when we are sitting in a crowd or near places where you are logging into your system and you are typing it slowly, somebody is looking at your keyboard, then the password can be very easily guessed and tried, and it happens. It is always type faster, do practice, use both hands, all fingers, have a mix of in the keyboard, upper lines, lower lines, right side, that side, a mix of those keys. Some people, they type 1, 2, 3, 4 in sequence. I just need to know that how many times you have pressed the key and I can guess it. So that's our digital skills of how comfortable we are in that.
So we have already covered this digital declutter. It will help you keep your system safe if you can from time to time clear your cache memories and extra data that has accumulated as temporary files over a period of time. Also, deleting unnecessary apps is very, very important. A lot of people think that these kind of tools are needed to clear your phone. Can you see 10 lakh people, 1 lakh, 27 lakh people have downloaded these. These are loaded with malware and spyware. It doesn't clean your system. It cleans swipe your system. वो सब कुछ साफ कर देता है, वो साफ नहीं करता, पूरा साफ कर देता है. So इस तरह के ऐप्स को कभी डाउनलोड नहीं करना चाहिए. ये बहुत यूज़फुल नहीं होते हैं. आपके एंड्रॉयड में, आपके आईफोन में नेचुरली उसके अंदर ही इनबिल्ट ऑप्शन है डेटा क्लीन करने के लिए. Another thing that we all should do is we give a lot of permissions to our apps without knowing. The moment you say yes, I personally, whenever I go back to check the settings of the apps, I am surprised and shocked how many times Big Basket has asked for permission of microphone, Canva has permission for location. They make no sense, but it's inbuilt in apps and in tools to extract as much information as possible from you. Data mining is a very big business. What Google has been doing over years, what Facebook is doing, everything around you is trying to sniff on you. So it's always very, very wise to go into your permissions manager and see very carefully what permissions have you given, whether it is needed or not. For example, Big Basket को function करने के लिए microphone की ज़रूरत नहीं है. वो तो एक app है जिसको grocery order करने के लिए मैंने upload किया है. तो I can go to the permission manager and revoke the permissions that are not required for an app to function. And also there are options in your phone that if you need permissions while using that app, for example, as a rule, I don't share my location permission, microphone permission, camera permission, but there are times when the app needs those. So you can always opt for ask every time option, that is also available. So whenever that app is trying to access that permission, it will ask you, you can give that permission at that time and then it will be revoked again. Social media impersonation, identity theft is very common. It's always a good idea to keep checking on yourself, do a reverse image check and see who is looking at you or using your credentials to scam or spoof other people. Every time somebody sends you a request to connect with you, a whole world of people who are looking over through that one connect over to your life is a very, very large number. Even if you give access or permission to one person who you don't know, who is a stranger, that one person can have 100 contacts. Those 100 people can have 100 contacts. So by even accepting one permission, you are giving access to almost tens of thousands of people to look into your life. Never give permissions, never accept friend requests from people who you don't know. It's always wise to have privacy settings. A lot of you are not very active on social media, but it is for those people who are very active. On Facebook, there is a option to set your privacy settings, to see who is looking at your account, what do they want from you. Whenever you are posting something, it's always wise to have a look at this option, whether you want the entire public to see that post, only friends, or maybe yourself. So be very choosy about sharing the bits and parts of your life. What do you do when you get into trouble, when you get scammed, when you get cheated? There is a government website where you can go and lodge your complaint. If there is a complaint like Ashok sir and you want to be anonymous, if somebody gets into some kind of sexual harassment and if they want to lodge the complaint anonymously, the option is there as well. The name of the website is this. It's called National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, and you can also call this number which is there. It's a helpline number to report your cyber crimes. If you like, you can note this down. It might come handy someday, or somebody might require. You should all know this. You will be able to share it with those people. So need of the hour is to have a data sensitive mindset. Your data is very important. It can be a power, it can be a weapon. In GDPR, a lot of European countries, Western countries have had very strict laws about data sharing and storage. GDPR is one of such laws. It actually holds companies accountable and responsible, why they are storing data, when are they going to use it, how are they going to use it, for how long they are going to store the data. So people, as a person, I can demand from a company to give me access or maybe erase my name from their data. There are heavy penalties and fines if companies are not protecting the data of the users. For example, जो अभी बिग बास्केट साथ हुआ है डेटा ब्रीच, अगर वो किसी यूरोपियन कंट्री में होता तो उसके ऊपर एनीवेयर बिटवीन 2 मिलियन टू 20 मिलियन पाउंड का फाइन लग सकता था. बट इंडिया में अभी वो सब नहीं है. There is a personal data protection bill which was floated in 2019. Unfortunately, it was heavily criticized because it was really, it overlooked a lot of safe practices. Now they are going to come up again with this bill. I hope it will be a better and revised version of what it was last. I want to share this video with you. It will give you a glimpse of why and how it is important for you to safeguard yourself.
Hey Serena! Yeah? What you got in your bag? It's my new heels for graduation! Good morning guys! Guess what day it is? It's my birthday! Where are these treasures coming from?
So as you can see, people know a lot about you just by looking at your social life, your digital life. I can tell a lot about a person by just having an access to their digital lives, and criminals and scammers use this information to their advantage. How this happens is through digital footprints. A digital footprint is your online activity, wherever you went, whatever you did, आपने किस पे क्लिक किया, क्या कमेंट किया, क्या शेयर किया, कौन सी फाइल ओपन करी, कितनी देर के लिए ओपन रखी, कहाँ साइन अप किया, कौन से ऐप्स डाउनलोड करे, उनको कितनी देर के लिए यूज़ किया, वो सब डिजिटल फुटप्रिंट है. इन शॉर्ट, एवरी ब्रेथ यू टेक ऑनलाइन, एवरी मूव यू मेक, something is tracking you, and that is your digital footprint. There is a very important reason why you should protect your digital footprint. Number one reason is to maintain your image, your personal reputation. Around 18% of employees get fired according to a survey because of just what they posted online. It can be radical thoughts, it can be unfair comments, or maybe something that was completely unfair to a community. So a lot of times people don't understand, but their actions online can prove detrimental to them, because nowadays everything you do, your online persona is getting checked. When people apply for university admissions, universities ask for their social media handles so that they can check their persona. Very recently, somebody applied for a US visa. There was a column there that you should highlight your social media handles there, because they are going to take a look at that and decide whether you are a suitable candidate or not. A lot of times people lose the job opportunities, or maybe the right kind of opportunities in life. This especially happens to youngsters. They are not mindful about what they are saying, what they are posting, what they are sharing, and in the end they pay it with the lost opportunities in their life. There is a lot to regret if one is not careful. Everybody thinks that whatever you do online can be used. You can just do something, post something, if you delete it, it's gone. It's not like that. Your digital footprint is like your print on cement. It is there forever. Once online, it will be forever online. Be very, very cautious about what you are putting out there, with who you are sharing it. It can be used against you. So, truth behind disappearing messages. I have a friend who works for a cement company, pretty high up in the management. So one day he was sharing with me that we have a lot of sensitive transactions, so I use only disappearing messages. So I said, okay, why is that? Because they disappear in 24 hours. So I said, what if I take a screenshot of it? And his jaw dropped to the floor. He was like, what? I said, yes, there is nothing called disappearing messages. Once you share something with somebody, that person holds that information forever. It can be used or misused. There is nothing called forwarding and forgetting. Disappearing messages do not exist. Even when you delete something, it can be retrieved. Even when you forward something and think that it's not written by me, it's somebody else's note, I'm just forwarding it. Even forwarding means you are endorsing it. Very recently, a very senior person, lawyer in Supreme Court, shared with me that a young boy's case came to her. Police arrested him because he forwarded certain sensitive messages. So पुलिस ने उनको बोला कि ये मैसेज आपने भेजा है, तो द गाय सेड कि नहीं, मैंने नहीं भेजा, मेरे पास कहीं से आया था, मैंने फॉरवर्ड किया. तो पुलिस ने उनको बोला, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, आप बस लिख दो कि आपके पास कहीं और से आया था, आपने सिर्फ फॉरवर्ड किया है. उन्होंने लिख दिया, एंड देयर इट इज़. Forwarding a message is illegal. It means you have endorsed it. Be very careful about what you are sharing, what you are forwarding, what you are deleting. Everything is permanent, everything is there. Another reason why you should protect your digital footprint is to protect financial loss. Like we saw in that video, the small things, activities that you do in your life can be put together by cyber criminals, and they can use it to fraud. So a friend of mine ordered a AC from a very reputed company, I think Whirlpool. So what happened was, AC stopped working. She contacted the customer care and they were not giving her the service at that time. She became very upset. She went on to Twitter and wrote a scathing review that how these big companies are cheating a single helpless person who is trying to make it in her life. It's so unfair, nobody is responding to the request. So she received a message immediately. उन्होंने ये ट्विटर पे पोस्ट किया था उस कंपनी को मार्क करके. तो somebody contacted her and said, I am from Whirlpool and I would really appreciate if you can delete that post because it is ruining the reputation of the brand. So they got into talking and he said, I assure you, you will get the best of the service. So he placed the phone call, sorted out all the queries, was a very nice gentleman, and finally he said that the person will come to your house and give you the service within 2 days. आपको ज़्यादा कुछ पे नहीं करना है, खाली ये 150 रुपीज़ का सर्विस चार्ज है, इसको आप पे कर दो. उन्होंने वो पे कर दिया. By the end of the day, 2 lakhs were gone from her account. So what happened was that the person who called her took her details from online post. He was a scammer. He was not from the company. So protecting yourself from financial loss becomes very, very detrimental. If you are putting yourself out there, somebody can take that information and use it against you. What people actually think about internet is that it's a very quiet, serene place, nobody is watching you, but it's not like that. At any given point of time, there are millions of scammers, predators, pedophiles, criminals online. They are all trying to look for people who are not, who don't have their safeguards up, who are vulnerable, who are sharing willingly their information which can be taken advantage of. You should be very careful of those people. Another very important reason is physical safety, personal safety. It's not online. The safety has, earlier it used to be like how people will harm you in online space, they can't. But what they actually do is they take your information from online space and they can stalk you, harass you, or even in worst cases, it leads to kidnapping, cheating, and etc. in the real world. So whatever you're doing in online world can directly impact your real world. There's a very common tendency in people. They share their life freely. किसी बच्चे का बर्थडे होता है, पेरेंट्स उसकी पोस्ट बनाते हैं, उस पर लिखते हैं, वाओ माई सन इज 7 years old, आई एम सो प्राउड, वाओ माई डॉटर हैज़ वॉन दिस प्राइज़. उसके अंदर उनकी सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है, वो बच्चा कौन से स्कूल में जा रहा है, वो कितने साल का है, वो कैसा दिखता है, उसको क्या पसंद है, वो सब कुछ ऑनलाइन पोस्ट कर देते हैं. देयर वॉज अ केस, I think there was a girl who was abducted and she was active online. Somebody decided to stalk her and the person knew where she worked, what were her working hours, where she commuted, and he decided to stalk her and found that she was vulnerable, and because of that she got abducted. Now I am talking about a very severe case. Not everyone gets abducted, but it makes a case for stalking and harassment. A case came to me a few years ago. There was a lady from a very good family background. So somebody was sending her all kind of threatening messages and were trying to blackmail her. So she said that I don't even know this person, I don't know how he knows where I live and he's threatening me. So we launched investigation and we found out that she had filled up a coupon on a petrol pump for lucky draw. And this person was an attendant on the petrol pump. So this is how every opportunity a criminal sees, they take. And oversharing your details often leads to such things. So I have an activity for all of you. Let's do this exercise, how we can put together information about a person. Can we do this? Do we have time? So I think everybody will wake up also. I want everybody to be in a group of 4 or 5 maybe, but one person should have access to Instagram. So let's huddle up, let's make group. Okay, let's do this then. So I need 2 more people here. Why don't you come here? And this table is fine. I need 2 more people there. So 2 people here and 2 people over there. So what we have to do is, we have to access this account and whoever tells me the most details wins this. Okay, let's do this. So open this account, the_Taurus_23. Let's make a list of all the details that you can see. Let's see who is the Sherlock Holmes here. Have you found the account? The_Taurus_23. Instagram, yes. You have 3 minutes. Yes. आपको उनकी जितनी भी डिटेल्स लिस्ट बनानी है, आपको उनकी लाइफ के बारे में जितना भी कुछ इसमें मिलता है, make a list of all of that. Whoever is the longest list, no, just make the list of things. So the highest number wins. Okay? If you have 10, if you have 13, then you win. You just make the list of all the details that you capture by looking at her online profile. नहीं follow नहीं करना. Please don't follow her. You don't know her. Okay, are we ready? No, it's a case study. Okay, how many details did you find? 8, 10 आपने तो लिखा नहीं है तो चीटिंग है. अच्छा, okay, fine. आपने तो देखा ही नहीं उस तरफ. Right. Okay, so I need a mic here. So team 1 is going to share what details they found. Please.
Okay, I can see a profile photo. There's a name.
Okay.
There's a naval brat, apparently a description.
All right.
I didn't know there was a navy in Lucknow.
All right.
Then there is Vizag and Mumbai also as being sites.
Yeah.
Probably it is mentioned so that she can attract people from those cities.
Okay.
Then she's supposed to be Flossom. Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Maybe she has flosses also, I don't know. Then she's a YouTube address, a link. Don't click on that, please. She has 180 posts. She has 1048 followers, and she's following 476 people, and numerous photos and videos. So I think maybe 11 or 12. How many are there? 170, 180 posts so far.
Okay.
Lots of photos. There's a photo somewhere Alia Bhatt as well. I think I picked out somewhere. All of them look okay, fine. Don't seem to be.
That is very poor performance. I'm sorry. This is not all of
So
it.
about 10 or 12, huh?
This is not all of it. Important details तो बताए नहीं आपने, ये तो बहुत ही.
There's some other.
So maybe you also took Ashok sir's advice very seriously.
What's that?
The advice was never to look at a female who is less in age.
Actually, I like all data. I look at everything.
Sure.
But I double check, maybe triple.
Sure. So you are not looking at the female, you are looking at the data. Very good. All right. So sorry, you haven't looked carefully. I'll share with you. Okay. Team 2.
She's been in NCC in Vizag.
Okay.
And her birthday is in April month.
Brilliant.
I don't know the date.
Sure. You don't know the year?
I don't know the year, I don't know the date, but it's in April.
Okay.
And she is... Okay, it's also on 23rd April.
Right.
I don't know the year.
Okay.
And she's been to Mumbai.
Okay.
Lucknow. And I think she lives in Vizag.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it? All right. St. Joseph College. Very good. Very, very good.
Because I'm a Tauran, I've got all the Taurans.
Please don't friend her.
She has visited Infosys in Mysore.
Wonderful.
So might be she's working.
Sure. Okay. Team 3, are you ready? Okay. I think you're going to win this one. Very diligent.
I mean, a lot of information we don't actually have confirmation bias. Obviously, we can't confirm anything.
Sure.
She was born on 23rd April.
Okay, great.
Her name is Shekha Prasad.
Okay.
She obviously has a public profile which is easy to access.
Right.
We did also get a list of all of her friends,
Yeah.
which will allow us, if we have enough time, we will be able to get to their friends' accounts, which is also a lot of them are public.
Yes.
So we can then sort out information from all of that and then create an overall list on all of that information. She lives in Lucknow. We have confirmed that. She is from Lucknow. She also is attending Army and NSC as in Vizag.
Right.
She once, at a specific date, visited Infosys Mysore, and her brother's or her relative's name is Amitabh Anuj Prasad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's overall it.
Can I access Instagram on this laptop? Whose laptop is this? आपका यार इस पे Instagram access हो जाएगा? नहीं होगा. एक मिनट. मुझे सिर्फ ये open करना है account. That's all. आपके पास account नहीं है. Can you sign in on this laptop? Then you sign
I don't
out.
use Instagram.
Anybody else can sign in? I need to access Instagram. I don't remember my this thing. आप access कर सकते हो? आपको भी याद नहीं है? ओके, एनीवे मैं अपने मोबाइल में चेक करके बताती हूँ. आप कर सकते हो? आ जाओ. वो हो गया चेंज, उन्होंने ओपन कर दिया है, लॉगिन डिटेल्स डाल दें.
I'm just feeling bad if she's just such a random person she picked up. Maybe she has no idea she's being used as a case study. Bye.
She's a Shah Rukh Khan fan.
Yeah.
Or romantic movie. It's more likely.
So I gave this case study to, I was conducting a seminar at police headquarters in Bhopal and I gave this case study to IPS officers कि अगर इस person को scam करना है या इनको cheat करना है तो आप कैसे approach करोगे उनको.
Ma'am, this person seems to be a big fan of anything that has anything to do with Hindi cinema.
Hindi cinema.
So it's very easy to track them using that to lure them into all of that. And this person also posts a lot of pictures of themselves, which indicates, not in a bad way, that they have some sort of a self-obsession, which is not a bad thing, but it can be used against them because a lot of people who use self-obsession can be tricked into something like that. So
maybe this person is trying to fish for compliments. So
yeah, exactly. So
them, give them
you
compliments.
creating fake profiles and then giving them filters or sort of options to look better in their pictures will lead them to, click on links that are easy to access. So that can be a way to trick them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to arrive at here is,
this is simple a case study, but whatever you teach us, so we are not following that thing.
Okay. So I can just tell you what are the traps that are around you, what are the red flags, so that if you ever come across any red flag, you would know that this is something that I have already seen or heard or maybe talked about. Yeah. Okay. Fine. He may be using a non-banking email ID to access this, so it's okay.
Sorry, I am using somebody else will have to come in. का password बड़ा easy है, 9 stars type. Somebody else will have to come in.
No? It's okay, let it be. So I'm asking you to take a look at this profile and I am taking you through it. Yes, you're right that this person is date of birth और year of birth आपको मालूम चल गया है. यहाँ पे ऊपर highlights में ना इन्होंने अपने बेस्ट फ्रेंड की, अपनी बेबी की और वो सारी डिटेल्स भी डाली हुई है. तो अगर आप इसको क्लिक करोगे तो आप इनको देख पाओगे कि इनकी डेटिंग लाइफ क्या है. ऊपर हाइलाइट्स हैं इसके अंदर. सो कब वो शुरू हुआ था और कौन उनका पर्सन है, स्पेशल पर्सन. हाँ, लैपटॉप पे लॉगिन नहीं हुआ है. हाँ. सो आई वांटेड टू शो इट टू यू, बट लाइक आई सेड that maybe you can access this later on. What I am showing you is that these are the highlights. A lot of times people post a lot of things here. So if I click this one here, I'll be able to see what her dating life is. This is her best friend. इन्होंने कितना अच्छा काम किया है कि उनका प्रोफाइल भी साथ में अटैच कर दिया है. ये उनका बॉयफ्रेंड है, 2021 में बना था और इसका भी बहुत ही अच्छा काम किया है. इनका भी प्रोफाइल नेम ऐड कर दिया है. बॉयफ्रेंड का नाम है द कैंडी बॉय. वेरी गुड. सो एंड वो सारी डिटेल्स इसके अंदर हैं जो आपको इनको स्टॉक करने के लिए या ट्रैक करने के लिए चाहिए. अनदर थिंग इज़ दैट सच पीपल आर वेरी फॉन्ड ऑफ एक्सेप्टिंग मॉडलिंग असाइनमेंट्स. So if I want to scam her, I can write in her DM that I have a modeling assignment for you, will you be interested? मुझे 100% यकीन है कि मेरे पास less than 10 minutes में आंसर आ जाएगा. So what I wanted you to see is that कि जब आप अपना बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट करते हो या अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी की ग्रेजुएशन की पिक्चर्स डालते हो या अपने फ्रेंड्स की डिटेल्स डालते हो, तो बहुत बार यंगस्टर्स ये मिस्टेक करते हैं. दे ट्राई एंड express themselves. While they are expressing themselves, they are opening a lot of doors and back channels for somebody to harass them, stalk them, or even attack them in real life. So weak or no privacy absolutely make sure that a person is bound to get into trouble. Another very important thing is to protect your data. Everything that you think is your personal information should be protected. You should continuously investigate your accounts, see what is not being used, should trash it. Managing your footprint is very easy. I have probably given you all the tips. One important thing is हमेशा सबको अपना फ़ोन लॉक रखना चाहिए. बहुत लोग ये मिस्टेक करते हैं कि अपना फ़ोन लॉक नहीं रखते. जो लॉकिंग स्क्रीन होता है, होम स्क्रीन, वो लॉक नहीं होता. उनको लगता है कि अगर कोई इमरजेंसी हो गई तो कोई एक्सेस नहीं कर पाएगा हमारे इमरजेंसी कॉन्टैक्ट्स को. तो फ़ोन को लॉक रखना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. So I want to tell schools and the organizations, educational organizations, that whether they are ready to accept the fact that they are under threat or not, it doesn't matter. Scammers will approach them, criminals will try and assess them, the attacks are going to happen. You remember I showed you a list at the beginning of the presentation, all the colleges that were hacked, ransomware. It's most likely that you will see that list becoming lengthier and lengthier in the future. So it's always good to have a strong line of defense. I am asking all the educational institutions to invest in cybersecurity, have strong firewalls, have cybersecurity professionals on the panel or maybe hire. Have your systems checked. Do a detailed VAPT, an assessment of where the vulnerabilities are so that nobody is able to hack into your systems. I told you the weakest links are the people who are working for you, the students who are in your organization. They are the people who are opening the back channels and gates for the hackers, scammers and criminals to get into your organization. It's very, very important to train your staff. When I say staff, I mean people who are in administration, teachers, almost everybody who have an access, any kind of access to any network or device of the organization should have this training so that they know what they are causing for their organizations. वो कैसे खुद single person भी कितना बड़ा threat बन सकता है उस organization के लिए, उनको ये training मिलनी चाहिए. Another very important thing is to train children of the schools to not become criminals. A lot of times children are committing crimes without even knowing that they are crimes. Those are called incidental crimes. So in our Indian Penal Code, a lot of those things that children nowadays consider pranks are actually punishable offenses. Hacking is a punishable offense. When you meddle with somebody else's property, if it's a digital device, if it's a network, then it's a punishable offense. Cyberbullying is a punishable offense depending on how much harm that child has caused. उसको 2 साल से लेकर कुछ हज़ार या लाखों रुपए तक का फाइन भी भरना पड़ सकता है. Pranks on social media are something that children nowadays do so much to get extra likes. I want to share you a prank. Have you heard about the skull breaker? Anybody heard about skull breaker prank? So what it was that 2 children will approach a 3rd child and say, we want to shoot a video for Instagram or TikTok. So what we will do is, at the count of 3, we will all jump and somebody will take a video of us. So एक इधर खड़ा है, एक उधर खड़ा है, बीच में एक बच्चा है. At the count of 3, somebody counts 1, 2, 3. तो बीच वाला बच्चा जंप करता है, साइड वाले लोग उसको पैर को ऐसे अड़ंगे लगा देते हैं और वो अपने सर के बल पीछे गिरता है. So that is a prank. वो उसको शूट करते हैं और प्रोफाइल पे डालते हैं लाइक्स के लिए. This single prank was responsible for many deaths on the spot, many hemorrhages, many lifelong injuries, yes, and a lot of children got suspended, their career was ruined, all for a few likes. It's not worth it. Another thing is, which the current generation is struggling with, and I say this with a lot of emphasis during my cyber safety seminars, that children are generating a lot of sexual content. They themselves are shooting themselves and sharing with somebody else, and they are sharing somebody else's sexual content also with their friends. So there are laws in our country to protect children and protect other people and such activities, and under POCSO, it is a serious offense to share somebody's, especially a child's, sexually explicit pictures. Children should be told about the crimes they are committing without knowing about it.
University. So that case became very much popular that there were, 6 or 8 months ago. Means recently the case was there that there is this girl, she's a student there and she's staying in the hostel and she has her boyfriend. So boyfriend,
requested,
motivates her that I want to see the pictures of your other friends, and then she, using the hidden cameras or the mobile phone, she takes pictures of other girls when they go to washroom, and then she used to send it to her boyfriend, and then suddenly it was leaked out and there was a very big hue and cry about these things. So, and the another thing is that गेहूं के साथ धुन भी पिसता है. So the Punjab University, Chandigarh, they had to clarify that this Chandigarh University is not Punjab University. Both are separate. It's a private university because they were also getting affected through this, a kind of a patch on their honor and prestige.
So during cyber safety seminars for students, they are told about all of these sections, about what kind of punishment or what kind of fines or what kind of life jeopardizing consequences are there, which they can escape by just not doing it or maybe reporting it. नहीं, हमारे पास एक जुवेनाइल लॉ नाम की एक चीज़ है, उसके अंडर सर्टेन एज ऑल्सो teenager or can also be prosecuted. Yeah. So, when children do something out of their delinquent tendencies, just to appear cool in front of their friends, they don't know that it can actually harm them for the rest of their lives. It is very important to teach them that. Cyber safety education primarily is a way to teach children how to protect them from themselves. Their action can result into a lifelong harm for them. On the internet, we need to save people from themselves sometimes, because a lot of people unnecessarily do the things which eventually turn around and causes them harm. The thing that sir just said was that whenever something happens in an institution, चाहे वो उनके बच्चों ने किया हो, लेकिन उनके ऊपर जो रेपुटेशन डैमेज का असर आता है उसका, वो उन्हें बहुत दिनों तक उसका खामियाजा भुगतना पड़ता है. There is no matter how much an institution pumps money into advertising themselves, but if something like this happens, if children are caught doing drugs, if children are caught cyberbullying, children are caught posting harmful content, so it reflects badly on the institution's name. So it becomes the responsibility of schools and universities to take up this job to educate the students so that it does not reflect on them. There was a study conducted by Cyber Peace Foundation and some shocking details came out of it. 80% of cyber crimes faced by the children don't get reported, but I think we need to change that. A lot of times the serious consequences harm the institutions in the long run. So this is the NCRB National Crime Report Bureau data for crimes against children, and according to them, there was a sharp rise in crimes against children during the pandemic because the children were online, and institutions, schools definitely want to do something about it, but they don't know what to do about it. A lot of times children are getting harmed in the school, and a lot of times they are getting harmed while they are at home because they are online. This is Nick McKinley. He is ex-CIA. He was directly responsible for solving a lot of crimes against children, and he has shared this horrific data. According to him, in US itself, nearly 100,000 children are trafficked every year. And that trafficking happens because pedophiles and predators approach children online. It is impossible to contact these many children in the real world, but because everything is online, now predators have an access to talk to 100 children, 50 children, groom them and entice them to come out of their houses and to lure them. These are the facts, data of missing children in India. Every single day in Rajasthan, 14 children go missing. In Madhya Pradesh, 29 children are missing every day. In Delhi, 5. This is just 3 cities. Now imagine what is happening throughout India. Roughly 1 lakh children go missing every year. And the reason is that they are getting contacted online. If you see all of these pictures, they are from good families, educated children. Every picture that you see here, this child may be alive or not, but behind every picture, there are parents who may as well be dead while they are still living, because they continuously worry and think what would have happened to their child who went missing. These are the picture of the parents. They recently approached us. Because of my campaign No More Missing, I get a lot of reports about how children get approached online, how predators approach them. This guy is around 16 years old. He left his house, nobody knows where he is, and the children are still trying to look for him. All of this happens because we don't conduct enough awareness seminars to educate children. We don't have enough awareness and conversation with parents, how to keep an eye on your children. We don't have enough education given to teachers who can identify among students who are going through a difficult time. A child who is withdrawn, worried or angry should be spoken to or should be highlighted. This is not happening because there is not enough conversation about it. Social media is a very, very dangerous platform. While it gives us the opportunity of connection, it gives us the opportunity to pedophiles and predators to approach children also. Facebook itself is notorious for a lot of fake profiles. In 2019, they removed 2.2 billion Facebook accounts. They removed. I don't know how many billion are still there. Children fall in this trap because they are very trusting by nature. They lack experience. Nobody talks to them that this is happening in the world. Their sense of adventure gets them into trouble. And they have this overconfidence, हाँ कोई problem होगी तो हम देख लेंगे. But a lot of times, it becomes too late when the problem actually happens. So there is another thing, when children are on devices a lot, it impacts their studies, their discipline in life, their health and everything else. It has been suggested through researches that on an average a child spends anywhere between 4 to 6 hours on devices, which is definitely not good for them, because during this time a lot of threats and vulnerabilities which he is not educated about. He may be creating problems for other people without knowing about it. There is an urgent need for cybercrime prevention seminars, and the reason is that you are not sure whether your organization is safe, whether somebody can access the vulnerabilities and hack into the systems and cause a lot of financial damage. No institution is sure whether the children are safe. Nobody knows how to handle such incidences. Nobody knows how to recognize them. So a lot of seminars need to be conducted in schools. This is absolutely non-negotiable and so urgent. So like you got to know about a lot of cyber crimes right now, everybody should. It's very important to continuously get updated about what is out there which is impacting people. It is very important to continuously find out how criminals are updating themselves, what kind of mechanisms they are using, what kind of frauds are out there. And so it is definitely a very good idea to create such conversations again and again so that people are updated. Every time an institution organizes a cyber crime, it leads to the online behavior is improved of children and teachers. It prevents cyber attacks because everybody comes to know about the red flags. It prevents cyber crimes because when we know, we don't fall for them. A lot of times we come out. It improves an organization's social recognition because not everyone is doing these things, but if some people are, they are definitely considered, up at the beat of things. The increased awareness is definitely a plus point, and I want to share something that organization, I am talking about schools and universities, it's not their responsibility alone to groom children, to educate them. There should be certain shared responsibility of parents. And how they can be involved in this responsibility is when schools invite parents for such sessions. That is how parents also get to know what threats and vulnerabilities are there, so that they can get involved in this responsibility. Another very important thing is when schools take interest in children and parents out of the curriculum, it definitely reflects in their profits, because in long run, schools definitely get advantage of a positive marketing. So I really recommend that every school should conduct at least 2 seminars every year for parents, for children, and for their staff, so that their organization stays safe. This is a that ChatGPT wrote about cyber crimes. I think it absolutely encapsulates everything that I want to say, and ChatGPT did a pretty good job. Teachers, children, parents come together, learn and teach twice a year. You won't regret this anytime. Don't be a victim of cybercrime. Good job, ChatGPT. So I want to here in the end say that tech is providing us a lot of opportunities, but we should know how to harness them. A good driver is not somebody who knows how fast he can drive. A good driver is somebody who knows how to put brakes at the right time. So cybersecurity is definitely a very integral part of harnessing the good of tech, and we should definitely not ignore it. Thank you so much.
Informative, practical, usable session, and the conveying the importance of it. And what is very important and interesting is that being informed is a very, very important aspect of everything: cybercrime, health, longevity, finance, whatever. So that's, I can't help adding a few stories. So one story is about, she mentioned about GDPR, because you see, this is one of the interesting issues about our data and privacy and so on. Social media has augmented this, because in India we are very social in terms of sharing our information with everybody. And even if you look at people going in train, this, that, वो सब अपने घर का, परिवार का, सब कुछ बेटा ये करता, सब बताने की आदत होती है. And it is very interesting, because if you are not like that, you are seen as abnormal. I'll give you a story about my personal experience a couple of years ago. So my son was getting married, and he was getting married in Hyderabad. And we were on a flight, जिसको बारात कहते हैं, flight में गए हुए. On our way back, on the same flight was Professor Varghese. So Varghese met me, etc., and I said, so he said, I was here for a seminar here. What brought you here? So I said, I came here for a wedding. I didn't say my son's wedding, my son was there, daughter-in-law was there, everybody was there. I said, I came here for a wedding. And all my relatives are making fun, ये कैसे आदमी, तुमने ये नहीं बताया अपने बेटे की शादी है, ये है. So I am of that tune, भाई जरूरत से ज़्यादा क्यों बताना? I came for a wedding, that's good enough as a starter. But our problem is exactly this, that we want to share everything. बेटे के वो हैं, वो ससुर हैं, वो लोग यहाँ हैं, वहाँ हैं. We tell everything about everybody. Now, why I am saying this is, in a pre-digital society, this was not a bad thing. In a digital society, as she has pointed out, it becomes dangerous. And I am using the word digital, I am not even coming to online. And she talked about GDPR. In the UK, they had brought in a Data Protection Act in 1984. It is then they had already realized that the moment things are on digital format, their movement is much faster. So if you have data in files and cabinets, to steal data will mean a big effort. कितना cabinet ले जाओगे, ये ले जाओगे, वो ले जाओगे. But even with a floppy, you were able to steal data. With a CD-ROM, you were able to steal data. So UK created this Data Protection Act in 1984 with some of those principles. If you are holding my data in electronic form, you have to take my permission, show it to me, validate it, and then only you could move. Purely because digital is faster moving. तब तक ये internet connectivity भी नहीं आया था. The fact that you could take a whole CD away and you had large amount of data. A very interesting consequence happened of that. So since you were not allowed to keep data in digital form of anybody without his permission, newspapers and media had a very interesting problem. All newspapers and media houses have a ready-made obituary of all the important people in the world. That if this person dies, I can immediately put, yeah. So now you have to give that draft obituary to the person and seek his permission that we are keeping this obituary just in case when you die we can use it. So you know what happened? Countries which did not have that law became data havens. So you kept that data in that country and brought it back only when you actually needed it. And this is like what Professor G.D. Sharma was saying, that you keep backup of your data elsewhere from wherever you are to be done. So this is something which is very interesting. I can go on with lots and lots of stories, but I can't. Talking about one more story. And Ashok Kamal started to talk about elderly people being careful with young women and so on and so forth. So I have to tell the other side as to what elderly people can do. So there's a Professor Walter Levine in MIT. You know, MIT is very prestigious. Walter Levine is very prestigious. He is millions of followers. If you Google for it, his video courses on physics are excellent. See, Feynman was very good from Caltech, but this from MIT, he's got, I think, millions of viewers. And I was also a great admirer of him. I'm still a great admirer of him, the way he would show experiments, etc., and made physics interesting for everybody. Now, I was to give some talk where I had planned that I will mention about Walter Levine and so on. And as I said earlier about that businessman who was stealing IPR, it is my habit that if I go and make a talk on something, I will update myself. So I Googled again to see what has Walter Levine done and so on and so forth. And you know what I found? Walter Levine was accused of online sexual harassment. So this became another interesting field. So what is online sexual harassment? And this professor of physics in MIT, how did he do it? And this is the kind of thing which he is trying to say, that the cross-border between online, offline world. And the story is very interesting. So Walter Levine was a very, almost like, you know, what should I say, hero-like or divine-like or whatever thing in physics. And he was taking an online class with some 200, 250 students. Now, online classes are now interactive. So with one of the girls in the class, his conversation was becoming a little more personal. And the girl was very thrilled. इतना बड़ा प्रोफेसर मेरे से बात कर रहा है, मेरी मेल का जवाब दे रहा है, मेरा ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है. And that was the beginning of stalking in this thing. And so on. So it's so interesting that it is not only scamsters and criminals. Even old professors are taking advantage of this. And फिर MIT ने उसका remove कर दिया. जो भी जैसा होता है उसके courses वगैरह remove किया. The point is that the more connected we get, you get exposure. I remember when we are talking about all this and she showed 2 photographs about what we think internet is and what it is like. I had that kind of an experience when, from a small town like Allahabad, where I was born and brought up, I used to go to Bombay for using computers and TIFR. And suddenly you have to be cautious of everything. And the expressions were very new and it was difficult for me. वो suddenly somebody next person warned me, अरे थोड़ा careful हो जाओ, वो packet parcel हो जाएगा, packet parcel हो जाएगा, वो parcel माने कोई उठा ले जाएगा. Even you are carrying a briefcase, you might be just with the handle and the briefcase is gone. So, now this actually used to happen. Now that world we hadn't seen. We were used to the idea कि ये यहाँ रख दिया है, उसके बाद तो वो कहते नहीं उसको पकड़े रहो नहीं तो parcel हो जाएगा. This is what you have to be with the internet. You have to be very careful with your data, and especially the way the data can be put together in completely different form that you could never even imagine, and so on. There is no full protection against it. Ashok Kamal ने चलते चलते कहा था, he talked about the Janampatri and this, that. I can talk a little bit about that also, but what I want to say is this is a good time, because according to what Vandana and this have said, there is no protection against it. Ye hai, and so the thought came to me that what we will do, we will create a few shlokas to prevent you from cybercrime. Rupam dehi, jayam dehi, yasham dehi, dusha dehi. That is generic. दुश्मन से मुझे बचाओ, दुश्मन के ऊपर विक्ट्री दो, ये करो. तो अब से ये होगा, जब भी कंप्यूटर खोलो, रूपम देही, जयम देही, यशो देही, दुशो देही, देवी भी खुश रहेगी और होगा भी. And if this is really true, it should help in this also. ये थोड़ी है कि किसी उसमें नहीं करा है. So that is the way. So thank you once again for a very good session, and we will sort of break for lunch. And so ये मंत्र कैसा लगा? Should we prescribe this for cyber security at the end of everything?
Sir, because I come from the financial world, I can't help sharing two things about physical data. You know, two very recent cases. One very, very recent. This is the Sahara scam. Subrata Roy ko abhi tak, in spite of him going to jail, 120 truckloads of KYCs that he sent to SEBI in compliance with the Supreme Court order. Nobody is able to, scan those 126 KYCs and pin him down. अगर वो मुझे कंसल्टेंट हायर कर लेता ना, करोड़ों रुपए उसने दिए होंगे अपने लॉयर्स को. So coming from the financial world, the NBFC Act is very clear that because he runs an NBFC, the Sahara, it comes into one of the sections. SEBI has no role to play in that entire thing because it's a contract between the depositor and his Sahara. वो ठीक है, fake IDs हैं, सब कुछ उसने बनाया है. But there is no violation or no interest of SEBI in the act. The only mistake that he did was that he defied the Supreme Court judges. The Supreme Court judges are a law unto themselves. कोई किसी को पूछने वाला नहीं है. Second is the 92, Manmohan Singh ji FM में जब थे finance minister. Everybody has a very high opinion of him. I have the lowest opinion of that guy. Because he's just an academician, he doesn't know the law. Harshad Mehta, in a similar case, there was no cyber footprints in those days. 86,000 pages of information he submitted. ठीक है, he died a destitute, everything, but they could not make a case against him. Because nobody has that brain to collate 86,000 pages of data that was seized from his place. So, this is what the thought I want to leave with you. आज वो हर एक चीज digitally मांगते हैं. So using big data, having learnt all this from you, that is why the income tax department or the other EDs and everything, they will find it easier to use artificial intelligence and the other tools that are available to cyber crime को करने में. But I don't know whether the computers of today or the people who are in the law enforcement agencies can analyze so much data and come up with answers to create a prosecutable case. I have my doubts, personally.
It is tempting me to share a very interesting story from my life. So there was a time when I was quite active in the world, so to say, and I was approached by some people with this simple proposal that you will be provided with a lot of cash in trucks at wherever place you say. Your job is to manage that money, obviously convert it to white so that it is usable money, and for that we will give you a certain percentage of that thing. And the volume of the game was several thousand crores. So of course I politely declined and I said, this is not my thing. But I said, out of curiosity, I just want to ask you, why have you thought of me? And he said very interestingly, he said, we know your profile. You are a brilliant science student. You have been a lawyer. You are a computer person also. So we think you can devise for us an appropriate scheme so that this can be done. Our other people do some schemes, but then they get caught in 2-3 years. What we want is a scheme which will not get caught for 25-30 years. We are not saying never get caught. At least instead of being caught in 2-3 years and then being in a problem, if you can make sure that at least for 30 years we are not caught, then it will all be over, etc. So I declined that, but I said, I appreciate your appreciation for me. But there is a need of people like this who will use AI, computer, etc. to put together fraudulent and will be much in demand.
Okay, thank you, sir. Since we are, either managing some institution or associated with that, in terms of cybersecurity, there is another important aspect about our employees, that how do the things they get leaked out. And a research has classified the employees into 3 categories. One are the compromised insiders. They are those people who use, that they have been compromised, they are not, alert enough, and their system resources, they can be misused by someone. The another category is careless insiders. Those who remain careless and then they leave their machine on. So अभी खुशीराम जी बैठे हैं, फिर उसके बाद इनका सिस्टम ओपन है, चले गए, कैलाश जी आ गए, इन्होंने यूज़ किया, so he can read all his mails. And the third category is malicious insiders. These are those people who deliberately use their resources to damage the institution. So that is one part. Now we all use mobile phones heavily, and those scams, particularly financial scams, that how the things they get your account cleared. We can have a very quick testing right now also, that how does it happen. The OTP, you say that I did not share OTP, but that is enabled through call forwarding. And it is very important for us to know that whether something without our explicit knowledge is happening with our phones or not. So please take out your phone and dial a code, means dial the number. This is star hash 62 hash. There are 2 type of codes. One gives you the simple version and another is the detailed version of. Just dial this number, star hash 62 hash. Press enter, like as we say. Star hash 62 hash. Dial this number. If there is any call forwarding enabled on it, it will show you a list of things. And if anything is yes, then it means that your information is being sent from your phone to someone else. Yeah, if it is clean, then you are congratulated.
I just hope
It is yes in your case. Yeah. So in that case, if you think that it is activated, now the question is that how it gets activated. Maybe you gave your phone to someone else. Sometimes people approach कि मुझे call करनी है something, or due to something you click, say like WhatsApp image or something. It is saying yes. So to disable,
What does it mean?
it means that there is some issue with that. So to disable, please do one thing.
Maybe it is call forwarded to my another number.
It can be your another number or it can be something else.
No, it is not showing there.
So please, in this case, just to be sure that if anything is activated, please dial to disable it, to deactivate it.
How do
Star, star, 2 times, 002, sorry, no star, hash, hash, 002, hash. Dial this number and it will disable or deactivate whatever kind of forwarding on your phone is. Hash.
call forwarded to my another number, another SIM I have in this phone. जब भी इसमें कॉल नहीं आता तो दूसरे पे आ जाता है, ऐसा होता था.
But it is always safe not to keep because if something happens with your other means SIM access, then again it is vulnerable.
क्या बताया था अभी अपने
Star, hash, hash, 002 hash. Dial this number and it will say that there. So Shubhransh wants to say something for few minutes. And then we will proceed for lunch.
Hi, so basically I actually was reading something about AI in cybersecurity. It's actually messaged Vandana ma'am as well when I heard about the cybersecurity seminar that was going to happen. So it was basically a book by Leslie F. Seekos, and this is a basic book. It's not advanced or anything, and I haven't read it all, but it's about using AI in cybersecurity. Now I just want to pose you with a simple question. We all had an entire presentation on how AI or how we can be protected in the world of cyberspaces, right? But what if your protection actually lied less with you and with the AI that you own? It's just a simple concept that you have to actually think about, because the fact is, we are entering into a world that we have no idea about. We are entering and we are creating an artificial mind that is going to not only be a hacker, but also a defender. Right, and basically in AI's artificial intelligence, there are 3 types of mechanisms that can be used. So the first is assistance intelligence, right? This is something that we're using in daily life as well. ChatGPT is assistant intelligence. It is an AI that we can use in like daily lives. And then comes augmented intelligence. This is something that organizations are using, like BlackRock is creating their own sort of augmented intelligence to, run organizations and, automate a lot of manual tasks. And then comes something like autonomous intelligence, which is going to be used in, like, for example, Tesla's self-driving cars. Those are autonomous intelligences. And a lot of organizations such as Google, IBM, and a lot of other people, they've already started using these cyber ways of, defending themselves with AI in the world of cyberspaces. And I think that's a very important question that we need to keep in mind, that what if in the next 5 years, maybe all of these steps are important, but what's more important is the AI that you own or the AI that owns you. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, maybe the final thing we talked about the reverse imaging. There is a very interesting website. You all can try it on your phone, on your system. This is interesting thing that if you want to find out about some person You can either upload the picture or you can add the URL or for there, and it will trace the person that wherever these are, and this is a good thing to find about something. For example, if you can see, say like if I type the name of one sir, like and here is the say, okay, go to images, and so okay, copy image address, so here it is showing you 10 results, and it shows that where are the details of that. So which website has used the details, something like that. Similarly, if you want to search for say like Ashok Kamalji, and then it can show these things. So there are various kind of tools available with us in which you can find email ID of a person, you can find that how the means about an institution, even including there are certain websites which will search in the dark net, which is not easily available, and where most of the things they happen, that about exploitation and other things. So those kind of things. So let us thank Dr. Vandana Gulia for the excellent session and the kind of information sharing. This is really a wonderful awareness. We all should be aware about, because we are most of the time online, we are using either our mobile phones, devices, or the computer based systems, and better to stay safe rather than feeling sorry later on. So thank you so much, and now you all are requested.